4078. It's going to be this 1222, or correction, 1122 Queen Road up here.
Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm Eric Cafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this
functions.
Perfect.
This is my daughter. This is Peyton. She's the TikTok star. I go, Dad. All right, let's back it up.
I'm just
Uncle
so
Tom.
star to you. Is that all I
Yeah,
am to you?
that's. I'm like, Uncle Tom does not know what TikTok is. let's back it up. So there's a lot more to me than I would say what social media sees, but my thing is when I started posting about fitness, about my journey and whatever, I was just posting to document it for myself.
Right.
I wasn't necessarily posting to have a following.
Right.
That kind of just came with it,
Right.
which it's just crazy. It's kind of just blown up overnight.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like the day-to-day, like what have you been doing for work? What what are some of your crowning achievements?
Okay. So actually I just recently switched to doing social media full time.
Oh, fantastic.
So I completely just make a living doing content.
What did you do prior to doing social media?
Okay. So basically I would say finding a direction in my That's on my gym playlist for sure.
Oh,
Good for you.
Excellent. Yeah.
So I never really had my thing growing up. I always felt like I was meant to do something, but I didn't know what it was. I had absolutely no direction. Like I was always jealous of the kids that were super into like soccer or basketball, or they had their thing or whatever it was. And I was like, I'm just not passionate about anything. And I was just waiting to find my thing. And then once I found fitness and bodybuilding, I was like, this is it.
This is the one.
It was just a come to Jesus moment for me, which sounds so cliche.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is what I was meant to do. So up until that point, I was just kind of working jobs that I wasn't really passionate about. You know, I worked at Dutch Bros forever. Gosh,
You weren't passionate working at Dutch Bros? Those guys
you
are
know,
insane.
we really seem like we are.
Right.
I worked at an eye doctor. I was not qualified at all. I don't know how they let me work there, but I was working as an eye doctor assistant for a while.
Wow.
Oh,
Doing like the
fantastic.
9-to-5 stuff that it just wasn't for me. I was like,
You
this is not.
you made money, but you weren't into it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was kind of like, all right, I found what I love to do, which is fitness, bodybuilding, and I'm going to find a way to make money for it.
Fair
And
enough.
so, yeah.
So that was the choice. So
Gotta go.
when was it? Sorry, that you found the fitness and the bodybuilding? What age were you? Where were you?
So it's crazy. I actually haven't been lifting consistently for a very long time at all. Like my first time I was like, all right, I'm taking this seriously. It was April 1st, 2021. I don't know why I remember so specifically.
Damn, girl.
Yeah, that's not very long.
Yeah. So that was
That's like a
actually
year.
the
Yeah, right.
first day that I ever tracked a meal was April 1st, 2021.
Oh,
Great April
dang.
Fool's Day.
Yeah, I
celebration
was
there.
like, this is it. And something just like clicked in me. I was like, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And then ever since then, I just haven't looked back.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So did you grow up playing sports?
I was a gymnast and a cheerleader, like growing up. But nothing too competitively. I kind of got out of it in high school. So, yeah.
But you do post pretty frequently about how like your family likes to stay in shape, and I totally know your dad from legitimately 20 years ago.
Everyone knows him. They'll be like, I saw your dad running down Eagle Road.
Yeah,
I'm like, yep.
Like I didn't like know him, but when I saw at your competition, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's your dad. Like I totally know that guy from the gym like 20 years ago. No joke. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel extremely old.
Oh my gosh.
I am coaching this guy's daughter.
Yeah, right.
And I
spotted this man 20 years ago.
I knew this man like when she was just a thought.
Yeah.
Like
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The way the world is.
I definitely got the gym has always been like, I was, this big and my parents were going to the gym. It's always been in my life. It's never been like a foreign thought to me. And then my mom also did a couple shows like when I was probably like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
So the idea of competing, the idea of bodybuilding in general hasn't ever been a foreign concept.
Did you lift in high school at all?
I mean, nothing too crazy. The Instagram workouts, like I wasn't.
The PE classes. Did you take lifting in high school?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So where'd you go to high school?
Mountain View.
Oh, very good.
Mm-hmm.
She's a local gal.
I am.
Local gal.
I am.
Terrible school, local gal. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Did you go?
I went to Centennial.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, I graduated from Bora.
And then you went to Bora.
Oh,
all locals.
Look at us.
Go us for local. So,
go us.
So you did your first competition in August of 2021. So like not even 6 months after you started training.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Which is kind of a testament to like how I approach things in my life. It's like
head on.
It's like, all right, I'm not just going to start going to the gym. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Like,
I'm doing a show.
I'm getting on the stage.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, which probably isn't in hindsight how I should have done it.
Well, yeah, I remember when you approached me about it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this, like, I mean, it was very apparent that like the potential was there, but I was like, okay, well, this is happening. We'll help you through this, but this is going to be, we'll see what we can do kind of a situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did your mom influence this at all because she had competed before?
Honestly, when I told her I was thinking about doing it, she almost it was the opposite. Like my parents never pushed me to do anything. It was always, if you come to us, we will support you.
Sure.
They always wanted it to be 100% from me. So I think that she was like, once I started doing it, then she was super excited about it. She didn't want to push me one way or the other.
Well, when we had Casey on last week, Eric had the same, when they were talking about Casey doing it again, it was kind of the same things. Like, this cannot come from me at all.
Yeah.
Because you probably recognize if you're really going to do it, it's going to be hard and you got to do it for yourself.
You have to.
That's cool.
You have to want it more than no one's going to want it for you.
Right.
So.
Wow. Isn't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Ain't that the truth? Again, welcome to Truth and Transparency. You guys are in for a complete, I think things are going to come full circle for a lot of people that have been following this channel, following where we've kind of been heading in terms of the history of this house, the history of the neighborhood, the people, how is this house passed?
I got it. Hey guys, Bosco PD. Hey, turn the music down. Turn the music down.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Transparency. Let's do it. What is up? What is good? This is a pre-record. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. Check it out. Here we go. Share screen like never before. Ready? 1, 2. You guys want to get crazy with it? How much faith do you have in the FBI? Let's go with this. Oh, yeah, that's way better. Let's run with this. This looks perfect. Yeah, I think you guys want to hear about this. Woo! Who's dependent on the FBI? Let's take a look at something here. I've done some research. Here we go. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. You guys expecting to see a big old hearing? Look at that. The United States Department of Justice, the DOJ, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Innocence Project, and the National Association today at the FBI concluded that the examiner's testimony and at least 90% of trial transcripts, 90%, guys, 90%. You guys know how large 90% is? You guys remember this? Analyzed as part of the erroneous statements, excuse me? 26 of 28 FBI agents. Analysis provided either testimony with erroneous statements or submitted laboratory cases worked prior to 2000 there. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Oh, man. Oh, what has happened here? Oh, no. The department has been working together with the Innocence Project? No way. Why are they working with the Innocence Project? Do you guys remember any of this? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. I'm here to break it down for you guys. You guys come to this channel for a reason. I'm cocky. I got a reason. I'm conceited. I got a reason. We do research in here. How you guys doing? Woo! Happy Mother's Day. Let's get this motherfucking party started. Well, I'm going to be down in Idaho, as you guys know. So I had to do my research before the 14th and the 16th was to pop off. And I said, where better to research than the motherfucking FBI? Okay. Now you guys are great here. I want to say thank you to all the moms, all the members, all the subscribers. Today is your day just as much as it's my day. But I've been waiting. I was going to do this last night, but I said, no, I got to pack. I got stuff to do. I got to research. I got to do so much shit because I'm not just going to Idaho for the Idaho4 case, but I'm going to Idaho for the Brian Drake, Dr. Moore case. So I got to get prepared. Woo. Also, I just found out that I was literally invited to CrimeCon and that I accepted to come to CrimeCon. I was invited and to be in a very, like, I just can't even believe it, booth. You guys will hear about that, but I was invited as a booth guest for CrimeCon, which is at the end of the month in Nashville. I accepted it. I did my research. I said, okay, I'll fuck with you. So just going to say I've been hella busy. Woo! But I think that this live is probably going to go viral when I tell you guys what's up. Like, it's probably going to go viral. I'm not going to lie. I've probably put in, I don't know, close to 40 hours researching just this to tell you guys about. You guys saw Ann Taylor. She was a beast in the last hearing, and Santa Claus didn't want any part of that. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? They're talking about a federal grand jury. There was a federal grand jury for what? Hold up. Wait a second. I said, how could there be a federal grand jury? Like, why would there be a federal grand jury? Why would there be a federal grand jury? Do you guys remember that? Federal grand jury? Come on, man. So I had to know. I had to know about it. I'm not going to lie, but I had to know about it. I said, federal grand jury for what? You got your man. You don't need no feds. You don't need no federal grand jury. Who be indicting here? Why do you have a federal grand jury? What is it for? What's the purpose? I said, there's only one reason you have a federal grand jury. It's to indict somebody federally, right? The fuck? That's what I said. The fuck? What's going on here? So I went back and I listened to the hearing, I don't even know, 5 times. And I said, damn, Ann Taylor really wanted to get that in. Like, she didn't have to say that. She didn't have to say certain things, and then the other side didn't have to say certain things, but they wanted to get shit in, right? Well, let's break this down for a second. The PCA stands on what 4 legs? And when you start taking away its legs, what's it standing on? The PCA stands on what? Remember how Bill Thompson was saying we didn't use any of the IGG to get any of our search warrants. We did not use any of the IGG to get our search warrants. Okay, check. But fuck, Bill Thompson never said that he didn't use any of the FBI cast to get his search warrants. So he used FBI cast reports to get search warrants, right? AKA also the warrant to arrest Brian Kohlberger. So they were adamant to talk about the IGG. Like, wait, yo, whoa. We're not even going to use that. We didn't even use that to get any of our search warrants. Okay. So what did they use? Because if you truly think about it, you guys, you can't go and get fucking search warrants. It's not, you got to have some shit. You know what I mean? You got to have some shit. And so the search warrants, they're legit. They're legit, right? But when I said they're legit, let's back that up. You would think they're legit. All right. Until if you never expected to get to this point of ever having to keep continuing on, right? Then you would never have to show your work, right? Perfect. So, all right. What would totally ruin this case? Wreck this case? The identification of the car and the cast. You don't have either of those two things. You have nothing in this case besides touch DNA, right? You have one warrant that's telling you that the killer went straight back home, and then therefore that apartment's going to be a bloody mess. You have another warrant that's saying that the killer was driving off the other way and swooping, looping, and pulling around and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So without the FBI, the cast, now, Moscow Police Department was not giving this up. They didn't give it up to the Idaho State Police. They were like, Moscow Police Department wanted this case, kept this case. Why? Well, because I think they wanted the money from it. Lana, come on, what else? Well, the egos, but money and ego, right? We can do this. We got this. We got this. We got this. But so hear me out. If you have a case that is in the front of all of us, like right here publicly in front of us, versus what if you get federally indicted? What happens then? What happens if you get federally indicted versus rolling how you are right now? So wait, let me get this straight. Ann Taylor has been wanting the things that the FBI has possessed, and it's been 18 months and she doesn't have those things. And she told Bill Thompson that you are protecting the FBI. Or was she playing games with Bill Thompson when she said that you're protecting the FBI? Was she in fact saying that I'm going to make you say that you're not protecting the FBI and that the FBI won't play with you? It's a difference. There's a huge difference. Do we really believe that Bill Thompson's protecting the FBI, or is the FBI not wanting to play with Bill Thompson? The FBI is not going to give you anything that's going to make the FBI look bad. The FBI already looks so bad, right? In the world of everything in life, right? So Ann Taylor says, Bill Thompson, you're protecting the FBI. Meanwhile, Ann Taylor knows that Bill Thompson's not protecting the FBI. The FBI is not playing with Bill Thompson. Meaning there's an internal push and pull and push and pull, back and forth tug of war between, we want this case. No, we got this case. No, we want this case. We got this case. We want this case. We got this case. This is our case. Yeah, but we want this case because we can protect ourselves. Or at least we can hide way more things than if this is all drug out in front of all of y'all motherfuckers like myself, then we can't, it's going to be a shit show. Right? If you get federally indicted, when's the last time that we've seen a court case and that we've all sat back and watched? Yeah, this is a federal case. We're going to watch this. This is federal. When's the last time we sat back and we were live streaming a federal case? When's the last time you guys have done that? When's the last time that we've sat back and watched a federal case? Well, we do have a former president, says Mary P. Okay, right? I'm waiting here to see if anybody in live chat knows the last time that we have watched a live streaming federal case before us to say, you know, this is a federal case. They don't stream live. Cameras aren't allowed in federal court. You rarely see one unless it is some, politician, or celebrity. There you go. There we go. You don't see them, right? So, which means that we would not be privy to all the fuckerage that would go on if this case was a federal case versus Moscow Police Department having it. Now, keep that in mind. This is really, really important. Now let's do this. Now I'm going to read something to you guys again. Okay. April 20, 2015. Just so you guys know, it's 2024. Nine years ago. Now, what if this says we're going to replace everything about microscopic hair analysis and we're going to replace it with FBI cast? Okay, now follow me. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. The United States Department of Justice, the DOJ, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and then the Innocence Project. Okay. They all concluded that the examiner's testimony in at least 90% of trial transcripts. So these people all worked together, and at least 90% that they made, whoever was testifying, that they were testifying to erroneous statements. That is 26 out of 28 FBI agent analysis. Whoever was testifying on the behalf of this, 26 out of the 28 cases where there was a federal employee that was testifying to the microscopic hair analysis, okay, from the DNA. 26 out of 28, they provided either testimony with erroneous statements or submitted laboratory cases worked on prior to 2020. So now, do you know what ends up happening when this happens? When you can prove that there's a flaw in the system? If there's a flaw in the system, then that will recall all of these cases where FBI cast was involved. Are we understanding? This was back in 2020 or 2015. Now, what kind of took over at that point? Everything evolves. Okay. So then when you have more, when you're just like everything's evolving, now we realize that back when we were using cast, holy shit, holy motherfucking shit, we're over here testifying as credible witnesses. Everybody deems us credible. And so therefore, these people are being pinned up, found guilty because of our testimony based on FBI cast reports. But now with more intel, more technology, ways of doing things, we realize that holy shit, holy motherfucking shit, FBI cast is motherfucking shit. And oh my God, if this comes out, if this fucking shit comes out, then what happens? Holy shit. That means that every case that FBI cast was used, there's grounds for automatic appeals. No way. Yes way. Just like how it was with this. What is up, Jen? Happy Mother's Day, baby. Aw, Jen. Jen. Love you, baby girl. Hundreds of millions of dollars. We're talking lots of motherfucking money. Now, let's continue. The department has been working together with the Innocence Project. Anytime that you hear that the Innocence Project is involved, it's because the Innocence Project is about to expose the fuck out of you. To address errors made in statements by FBI. Hear that? Examiners. Their testimony and laboratory reports. You see that? Such statements are no longer being made by the FBI. And the FBI is also now employing. Remember, I want you to change out the lingo, because one day I think it's going to say this. Okay. So let me back out. It's just zoomed in a little too much for me. Okay. Executive Assistant Director, Science and Technology Branch, FBI. However, the department and the FBI are committed to fixing errors, and that justice is done in every instance. So if they went back and did all of that, remember, then so with FBI CAST, you got to take all the cases that would involve FBI CAST, and you're talking about hella shit. If there was anybody that testified to FBI CAST reports, you are motherfucking FUCK'd, because, well, not the person, not the case that was used in. I'm going to have an automatic appeal. There's going to be grounds for an automatic appeal. So therefore, we can't have this happen. All right. So we have to have a closed hearing. Okay. Because why? Well, Ann Taylor was saying, well, because you want to cover for the FBI. And the FBI has somehow recently conducted a federal grand jury. Why would they be conducting a federal? Who are they planning on indicting that would have anything to do with this case other than Brian Kohlberger? And my thing is that they're not. Like, the thing is that they're not. Hey, we have a federal grand jury. We were able to indict Brian Kohlberger. Give us the case. Whoa, are you serious? Well, yeah, because then we can bury all this shit. Because if this shit comes out in court with all of us crazy ass motherfuckers, we're going to like all these sleuths, because everything's evolved. The internet's here. They would probably have no problem with this getting out, because you're going to have to get your hands on stuff. Well, mainstream media, it just depends on if you could play ball, or if mainstream media is here, you're not going to talk about this case, and I'm going to toss you some money. If you don't think that shit happens, y'all are nuts. Now, let's look at one more thing here. The department and the FBI are committed to ensuring the accuracy of future hair, blah, blah, blah. But can you imagine if it says the accuracy of future FBI CAST reports? The department and FBI have devoted considerable resources to this effort and will continue to do so. These findings confirm that FBI microscopic hair analysis committed widespread systematic error, grossly exaggerating the significance, bolstering the prosecution's case, said Peter. Now imagine if that was the FBI CAST. That was the co-director of the Innocence Project, which is affiliated with the Cardozo School of blah, blah, blah. Now, right here, the FBI and the DOJ agreed to conduct a review of criminal cases involving microscopic hair analysis after the exoneration of 3 men because of all of that crazy ass hair shit. And now this is exactly what Gabriela Vargas was talking about when she was telling me about this hair bullshit with the FBI. And I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about at first. Okay. And then it wasn't until Ann Taylor said that she believed that Bill Thompson, Santa, was covering for the FBI. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, geez, all they talked about is how Payne went to the FBI Academy and they did time there, and they went and did 6 weeks here and, 12 weeks here. And, oh, they're just so well, blah, 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 all their amazing fucking ties and all this shit, right? Happy Mother's Day to Jen. Thank you so much. I don't know why it won't let me click on it. Like, I cannot even scroll back up. Like, I clicked on that. Hold on. Let me see if I can go back. God bless America. God bless us all. Ah! Oh, there. Hold on. Haha. I beat the system. When I was doing the case with Gabriel Vargas for Joe Cannon, and we were looking into, because we wanted to get stuff that wasn't tested for DNA. So there's different ways you can go about that. Anyways, my brain is like a little vault. And like when something piques my interest, I store it. And then like I'll go on, and then somebody else says something and I store it. And then I hear something else. And then I'm like, hey, didn't they say that? And didn't they say this? And this is very interesting. And when you put it all together, it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Why would the FBI be working on a way to federally indict Brian Kohlberger? If Brian Kohlberger is their guy in Moscow, they have all this evidence against him. And it's just like, wait a second. What if we drop charges against Brian Kohlberger and let the feds indict him? And then we can hide all this shit from the public. Can you imagine that? So the question is, why would anybody want a closed discovery hearing? Nobody would ever ask for that. Nobody would ever ask for that. I think Bill Thompson was losing his case. I think Bill Thompson probably had meetings with people, and the FBI was saying, we're not going to testify to any of this shit. And then Bill Thompson is like, what the fuck? We're not testifying to any of this shit. And then he's probably like, well, why wouldn't you? You provided it to Officer Payne, right? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but we're not about to get embarrassed publicly. Why would you think that you'd get embarrassed? Because it's wrong. Because it's motherfucking wrong. That's why. You'd get embarrassed because it's wrong. But then here's Bill Thompson. We don't have it, and da-da-da, and he's just acting like a goddamn fool, right? But Ann Taylor's over here like, no, it's Brian's rights to have, like, we're going to have all of this, but listen up. Ready? We only have this motion to compel if Bill Thompson doesn't turn over the information, right? Then there's no motion. There's no motion to compel in front of anybody, or if you tried to close the motion to compel in front of people, there's no way you can violate Brian Kohlberger's rights, because if it doesn't happen, then it never happened and nobody's getting violated their rights, right? So you have one of two options, which is to turn over everything, or at least what you think would be everything, so that Ann Taylor has to like sift through shit, right? Or you subject yourself to not turning over everything, violating Brian Kohlberger's rights, and having a closed hearing, right? And then what happens? Like, I mean, where do we go from here? So then I did some more digging. So check this out. Oh, and by the way, the reason that this is named Couch and Bill Thompson is because everything in life will always have something that happens to take your attention away from what's truly happening. And all I have to say is this. Who do you think got Allison, what is her name? Couch? Who do you think got her to come forward and break her story? Who do you think did that? I'm just saying, she hasn't spoken for how long? Never said a word. Why would she come forward right now? Ashlyn Couch, why would she come forward right now? You think Bill Thompson? Absolutely not Bill Thompson. Who would have that kind of pull? Who is making a nonprofit and using names from? She must have good relationships with who? The families. So why would Ashlyn Couch come forward when she did to break her silence? There's only one name that comes to my memory. If you're going to play a game of chess, you can't play with checkers. But somebody had to pull a card. And somebody pulled a card. And that card was to get Miss Couch to come forward and talk about whatever. And that everybody would be so consumed with... Have I done a live about Couch coming out and speaking at all? Absolutely not. Couch is irrelevant. She was in fucking Seattle. She has absolutely nothing to do with this other than the fact that she knows that she has no idea who Brian Kohlberger is and that he has no ties to anybody. Because if you're going to come out and speak, you'd be saying things like, I know who he is and everybody knew who he was. Right? That's right. Couch is a distraction. I'm not interested in a word that she has to say because she knows nothing. She wasn't the sixth roommate. She was just still on the lease, y'all. You know how I know that? Because I did my homework back a year and a half ago when this all happened. When I found out that Ruby Simpson's mom was facilitating who was paying who and that Maddie was paying and that Dylan Mortensen was then paying her because she took over the lease of Ruby's room. And I realized that all of that means that none of y'all went and signed the lease and that the deposit kept on riding. And the way that you got your deposit money back when you moved out is because the person that took on your room paid for the deposit. And I found that all through Venmo. All of it through Venmo. I knew that a year when this happened, November 2022. Couch wasn't paying anybody. Couch wasn't involved in diddly dick. Couch was involved with no Venmo payments to Madison, aka Maddie, ever since she moved out and she knew that she was moving out when she graduated. If she graduated, I don't know. Don't care. Couch is not involved whatsoever. That's not true. It's a distraction. That's how life works. You should ask Ashlyn Couch which room was hers. Now, moving on to what matters. Let's see. The FBI and the DOJ agreed to conduct a review of criminal cases involving microscopic hair analysis after the exoneration of 3 men. because those different FBI hair examiners whose testimony was scientifically flawed. You see, the FBI hair examiners whose testimony was scientifically flawed. See that? The Innocence Project and NACDL with its partners, who served as the Inspector General of DOJ from 1994 to 1999, they were working with protocols for the review. The review encompasses cases where FBI microscopic hair comparisons were used to link a defendant to a critical piece of evidence. It does not, however, cover cases where hair comparison was conducted by state and local crime labs. You see that? State and local crime labs does not. And you want to know, you ready for this shit? Ready? Where was Brian Koberger's car forensically examined? So with this, they had no issues with anything that went on with the state with this. No problem. The issue was solely on cases where there was FBI and that FBI lab was used. So just like this, we have no issues where if, remember how Payne was writing his ridiculously pathetic, okay? We thought it was Payne who was being pathetic, right? We thought it was Payne who was being pathetic. Does Payne really have an FBI guy? Well, there was 120 agents, 60 of which were FBI. So Payne has to have an FBI guy. Why would there be 60 motherfuckers from the FBI on this case? And then all of them are what? Circle jerking around saying we're not going to put our name on it? No, somebody did this work with Payne. But at the same time, they told Payne, you don't have to release any of that. Or maybe they just said, we did it, go ahead and stamp it. We did it. When it comes to that point, yep, you consulted with us. This is what happened. We're not going to tell you how we did it, but you can go ahead and use us. You can go ahead and use us. You can go ahead and use us. Because we're over here telling you we're not going to give you our work because that's not how this works. You consulted with us. We told you what we found, and then go ahead and go forward with it. And when it comes down to the fact of the matter of anything that's in question, we'll take care of it. We'll then, when it's asked for us, asked to produce it, you know, when that bridge crosses, we'll cross it. Go back and read the PCA. You can't think that there's 120 agents on this case and that Payne, who has 2 years, is just going to write up all of this crazy ass shit, okay, and say that he consulted with all of these people. Now, Payne, you're gonna have you would have known who you talked to. If you guys are watching the Karen Reed case and the custody, the chain of evidence with the solo cups, with the bashing of the tail light. I mean, just wild shit, right? What do you guys think about this case? This is wild as fuck. This is fucking sick. Absolutely sick. The government identified nearly 3,000 cases in which FBI examiners may have submitted reports or testified in so right here, I'm going to highlight this one more time. Take a look at that. The government identified nearly 3,000 cases. In which FBI examiners may have submitted reports or testified. Maybe, you know, we got to look into it. We got to look into it some more. Let me go ahead and, here you go. Wait, what'd you say? Yeah, the government identified nearly 3,000 cases in which the FBI examiners may have submitted reports or testified in trials. In approximately 500 cases, the majority of these cases were trials, and the transcript of examiner testimony was reviewed. Some of these cases report in that 268 cases where examiners provided testimony used to inculpate a defendant at trial. Erroneous statements versus at least 35 of these cases received the death penalty. And error were identified in 33 out of 35 of the death penalty cases. That's a 94% error. Nine of these defendants while on death row. The state with capital cases included Arizona, California, Florida, Indiana, Missouri, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and 2 others. Ongoing process, and that the numbers referenced above will change. All but 2 of the 28 FBI examiners provided testimony that contained erroneous statements. All but 2. All but 2. Remember, 26 out of 28. Now remember, change it on out. And what if it says this? I'm doing this. I have to be honest about something. This live broadcast is in honor of Drunk Turkey. You know I love you, Daniel, and that's why I debate you, baby. But you want to talk about that cash shit? Well, I'm going to tell you that cash shit is a motherfucking joke, and it's gonna be FUCK'd right here. So change out this and put this. Dr. Latina. Dr. Latina. Yeah. You know I've been covering that Karen Reed like a motherfucker. Well, you know I had to bring it. And so I said, let me just read at night because Karen Reed's got me all twizzle-dizzled up. Pun intended. You guys, the sad thing is here, I told the parents to go and sue. They need to go and sue. They need to go and sue. The reason being is because they've been lied to this whole time. And how do you lie to parents? How do you keep lying? All but 2 of those 28 FBI examiners provided testimony that contained erroneous statements or authored lab reports with such statements. In light of these findings, the Department of Justice and FBI have committed to working with the Innocence Project. They're going to be working with them with CAS, motherfuckers. That's what's going to happen. And leave Lana to a library for a couple hours. Welcome to Mother's Day. Hello, all the mods. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Take a look. Remember all this stuff? Let's see. Second, the state did not rely on IgG information to establish probable cause. Nope. The defense response to this will be simple. Very, very simple. This is what I said back in June of 2023. Probable cause affidavit to arrest Brown Colbert, statement Brett Payne, Exhibit A, last page. Let's check it. Let's take a look. So I go ahead and I click on the affidavit of probable cause. And I go to the last page. On December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from Brian Colbert family residence. Exhibit A. And they're saying, hey, yeah, we didn't, I thought we didn't use that. I think y'all did, but whatever. But based on the information above, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Brian Kohlberger. And here, everybody was all concerned about the IgG. Well, let me tell you what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with the cast. This is how you obtain the arrest. See how it says it right there? This is how you obtain the arrest. And here, people focusing on the wrong thing here. We need to focus on the cast. If you don't have the cast, if you don't have the FBI all up in this shit, you have nothing on the arrest of Brian Kohlberger. This is going to come down to touch DNA, motherfuckers. Period. Period. Because I think all this other shit is going out the window. I do. Prior to the FBI's IgG efforts, the ISP laboratory developed this, they supposedly did all that. And so this was all heavy focus here. Look over here, look over here, look over here. And we all did. And we all looked over there. But I'm telling you right now, regardless of the IGG and them fucking, it's going to look so bad. It's going to look so bad they violated their own procedures, okay? But more importantly, it's going to be that you have touch DNA, and that's all you have, right? You have touch DNA. And that you went ahead and did you purposely fuck with your CAS reports to railroad a motherfucker? And I believe you did. Welcome to the transparency. Let's get it on. Let's see what ended up happening here. Conduct an independent investigation of the FBI laboratory protocols, practices, and procedures to determine how this occurred. Continue aggressive measures and review the process to determine whether additional steps could be taken to secure. Strongly encourage the states again to conduct their own independent reviews where its examiners were trained by the FBI. Oh, hell no! Sorry. Strongly encourage states, again, to conduct their own independent reviews where its examiners were trained by the FBI. Oh, hell to the motherfucking no. That's exactly what Payne testified to. He consulted with the FBI on the whole motherfucking thing. And that's what they did with this. They had to go back and look at all of that. When that happened, woo, daddy, you railroading motherfuckers, huh? Woo, daddy, you want them snip, snip, clip, clip. I got nothing but that. The Innocence Project. Woo-wee. The FBI has agreed to provide free DNA testing. I got how much did that set us back? The FBI has agreed to provide free DNA testing where there is either a court order or a request for testing by the prosecution. Only if the prosecution requests it? How crazy is that? How can't a defendant ask for it? Dude, you got me on some hair, you motherfucker. Fuck you. That ain't my motherfucking hair. Oh, boy. Additionally, such as statute of limitations and procedural default claims in response to the defendant's petition seeking a new fair trial because of the testimony was provided in state court prosecutions, and it will be up to the individual states to determine if they will follow DOJ's leading example, which would mean you gotta put them back at it. Woo-wee. Oh boy. Now again, go ahead and put in the word FBI cast instead of in 2015, the hair debacle. And we have a huge problem, don't we? Who wants to fuck with a motherfucker? Let's go. And now it's making real good sense to me. Woo-wee. What do you guys think? Here we go. I'll give you 30 seconds on the mic. Make yourself known. 30 seconds. Just tell me what you think. Do you think I'm full of shit? Or do you think there's a chance? Is there a chance that I'm right and that this is either is this an ego thing? Is this, why would you ever start a federal grand jury? What's the federal grand jury for? Whew. There you go. Click it. Ticket. Over the course of 25 years, the FBI conducted multiple 2-week training courses. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Who the fuck can learn in 2 weeks? I'm just saying, like, this is some serious shit. You want me to learn everything? I get trained for 2 weeks? 2 weeks? What up, Twiz?
Yo.
You think your girl's money or what?
I mean, of course I do. But when are you coming out here?
I can't be telling people because they all try to get me locked up. You know, like
All right.
Akon
I'm gonna
said,
drop
don't-
my email in the back chat. You email me.
you better email me. You better email me. I'm buying you dinner, boo.
I don't have your email.
Oh, you don't? It's the mind challenge. Here, I'll put it right here. Everybody has it. The
I
mind
emailed
challenge.
you. Somebody gave me your email like 2 weeks ago, and I emailed you, and I never got a response. So I think I got the wrong one.
Okay, well, check this out. Here you go. Look at that. The mind challenge at gmail.com. I've done a lot of my own homework here, and I think on Monday we're going to see some motion to compel stipulations that, hey, we don't have to have a hearing. I think that Bill Thompson has no choice but to drop some digitals. Oh, okay. You gave me yours. I see that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really sad that we don't get to see what's going on Monday because it's gonna be wild.
Well, it's technically Tuesday.
I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. So, what else you got for me? What do you think about Couch? Why do you think Couch came out here to shake her dick? I mean, tits, whatever. You know.
That's an odd one, but I think what they're really trying to do is stay away from that house having anything to do with drugs. I don't know if you know this, but I talked to a Moscow local this week, and they said that they were definitely dealing drugs out of that house, and they had known that for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I think that's what I put out here with Dave, but nobody wanted to think that girls could push some drugs, and then I showed y'all where it was coming from. Remember that? I was like, hey, I think we need to take a look at the fact that hold on, I got something for you. Okay, good. Here we go. I'm steady trying to find the motive. I do what I do. All right, name the artist.
Akon and Young Jeezy.
Okay, next song.
Right.
Ready? Yep, this is my show. You ready? Play. Okay, ready?
I'm locked up.
All right, here, name the artist. Song and artist. Ready?
I swear I should know this already. Is this Ball with the Ba? What is this?
What?
It
Yeah.
has to be, right? Yeah.
That's impressive. Let me see what else I think you might not know. Let's see if you can get 3 in a row. Ready?
I couldn't remember Kid Rock for some reason, but that was like my first instinct was Ball with the Ba.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Hey, you want to know what I think really happened?
Oh God, I can't imagine. Give it to me.
I think that the people who traffic drugs through that house had the key code access, and they come into that house every now and then to either check on their product or their money. And the people in the house were expecting them to be there that night. They just didn't think that people were going to die. Because isn't it like the leaked text where supposedly Dylan was texting Bethany about how, I think they're killing them. Like, they knew people were there. They just didn't know what was going to happen.
Okay. What if I told you that based off of my research, if I did all of this, do you believe it's all possible that people could try to like railroad people that they knew that were like, okay, if I knew you were guilty, I need to bump up, like, I need to like, I'm gonna go ahead and write this, and this, and just, you're going to testify to this, and this is probably not going to get to that point, but this is going to make that person want to have make a deal. And so therefore we're going to go ahead and railroad them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have some evidence against them, but here we can go ahead and like pop it and like really hit it home. More or less, like, it's called tampering and fabricating evidence. And do you think that at all they picked the wrong person to do that too?
Well,
And so that
I think so.
And so that therefore, even if they did do this crime, that they could walk.
I mean, it's possible. I don't think that Brian was involved, but yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I say this is because how long does it take to get from that park to get to the crime scene?
I don't know. Let me map it out real quick. It takes, I would say, like 40 to 50 minutes at least.
Do you know how hard it would be to, because they didn't do this because they're just totally too lazy. You'd have to sit through and watch all these videos, all these surveillance cameras to try to find his vehicle on all these surveillance cameras. You know how long that would take, right? It'd take a long, long time. It would take 6 months. It would take at least 6 months to truly do it the right way, right? Hey, let's do it the right way, right? Hey, we have this touch DNA, or hey, we got a hit off of this. We were able to do it the right way. We have this guy's name. All right. Let's truly do it the right way. And at the point that we have this name and, blah, blah, blah. But the university then comes in and they're like, fuck no, y'all are fucking with our money. No one's going to come to this school unless we have a motherfucker in custody. So y'all can make your case after the fact. Right? Because you're going to have all this time, right? You have him, so blah, 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 right? And so therefore, go ahead, because our attendance is going to be way down. No one's going to come here. Fuck kids that even go to our school right now. They're not going to come back. They're going to want to do remote learning, or they're going to say, like, we want our money back. And to wait, like, this is going to be a complete debacle. We have to arrest somebody, right?
Of course.
Okay. So if the university was involved from jump, they knew that there was a suspect. Just like how Bill Thompson knew. I would send my kid here, but I'm sending them knowing what I know. What I know is why I'm sending my kid here, right? But I'm privy to way more. And that tells me that you have a name. Period. You're not going to send your kid to a school where you think that somebody can be, chopping up a motherfucker the next day. I'm sorry. Like, that's just not going to happen. So how much pull does the university have to say, nope, make the arrest now, make your case, because we need to proceed with the chlorophyll because we need to make money?
That's definitely what was happening.
Okay, but hold on though. So the point though is that you're willing to fucking fuck up your case, right? Or fudge shit or make something happen that's truly not there, which ultimately means that a lot of stuff can get tossed if that comes to fruition, that you fucked with stuff. You had a guy and then you railroaded him to just like enhance all of this stuff against him that wasn't there. And then there's one thing that comes out, which is he has nothing in his car, right? Because you're married to your little timeline, your little way that you think it happened.
Right.
You're married to that, right? And you made somebody do it so quickly versus saying, give us a second here to figure out truly how this happened. Because if it comes back and there's nothing in this man's car, just like it's coming back in the Karen Reed case, all right, look at this. In the Karen Reed case, there is no motive for him to kill or for Karen Reed to kill her boyfriend. In fact, they're seen embracing each other, rubbing each other's back, kissing, hugging. Everybody's testifying that everything's fine. And then Karen Reed just flipped out in a matter of 6 minutes. Okay. So you're going to have the same thing with this case, because then also Karen Reed's defense team has showed that, oh my God, you guys are collecting evidence with solar red cups and you're doing all these wild things. Right. And see, Alan Jackson could have had all that shit thrown out and it would have never made the day in court. Right. So you don't want to, though, suppress that information. You want to show that information. We're not going to suppress shit. We want to show how the fuck y'all tampered with evidence. We want to show how you guys tried to make a case here, even if you have a little bit on somebody, how you tried to railroad it and make it seem like it was all these other things because you fabricated and you tampered with and you lied in arresting papers. So do we think that could have happened here with the whole Brian Kohlberger case, where if y'all would have just waited and did the job, you guys would eventually have got to Brian Kohlberger, but it would have cost you money. And you chose money over 4 kids being murdered and that there being justice and that person coming to justice and all that stuff. Is that?
I mean, it's possible. For sure, it's possible. These people will do anything.
They'll do anything, right? Right.
The only way that's possible, though, is if they're lying about Brian going to the park that night, though. If they can prove Brian went to the park that night, there's no way he was involved. You know what I mean?
Why is that?
All right.
Wait. Let me back up. Let me back up. There's no way that Brian was involved during that time frame. Is that?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So perfect.
He could be involved in some other way.
Exactly. So there we go. That's what I'm trying to say. So after I've done, I don't even know how many freaking hours, but the more I think, remember how I said they're always married to this timeline? Because I will agree with you. I don't believe that the time of the crime is the time of the crime, because Idaho State Police blows dick. Okay. And I believe that whoever did this, I don't believe that the time of the crime is when they're saying that it is.
Sure.
Okay. So you're saying that if Brian Kohlberger went to the park, there's no way that he could have done it.
Correct.
Based on the time of the crime that the state's putting out, right?
Yeah, they either have to have the timeline so messed up or Anne is lying. It's one of the two.
Because you don't think that if he's pinging over there, he could get...
It's not even the pings. You could map it out from where they have him on camera.
You mean like...
On WSU campus, where he is on camera in Pullman, there's no way he went to the park and committed the crime.
At that time.
Correct. So they either have to have the timeline screwed up, like bad, or they're lying about him going to the park.
Okay. And do you think that Ann Taylor would come out and say that? I don't believe that she would.
I don't think so either. I think they 100% believe Brian didn't do it.
100%, right?
Right.
And now, do you think out of all the years that Ann Taylor's been doing this and her colleagues that they could sniff out bullshit?
I would hope so. I would hope so.
I agree.
I think she's also very smart. Like, I don't think she walked in there and asked Brian what happened. I think she came in and got little pieces of evidence, time by time, and then once she got a hold of Cy...
Brian was begging? Do you think Brian was begging? Like, oh my God, Ann, I did not do this. Like, I'm innocent. Do you think that he was like overly, like, he's like, he's like, you don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. I don't even know these people. Like, what the fuck? But I could tell you that I felt that they were like going to pin this on me, because I could tell like people were showing up around my work. People were coming around my house. People were trying to like, it was... I
don't think he knew he was a target at all. I don't think he knew he was a target at all. But again, if he went to the park, right, my idea is that he didn't even go to Idaho that night. So on the 7th, when they said, we're looking for a Wida launcher that was seen driving around Moscow, he would have never thought he was a target because he was not there.
Do you think that Brian Kohlberger was talked to before he was arrested?
I don't know. Talked to by who would be a good question.
Well, we know that they identified his vehicle on November 29th.
Right.
And that he was like, they were doing work on him on November 29th. So do we think that between November 29th and the time that he was arrested, do you think that he was ever talked to by anybody, meaning the FBI, the Idaho State Police, or Moscow Police Department, or
officially?
WSU?
I don't think so right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. But I also believe right after he was arrested, right? The FBI said they commanded those 2 traffic stops. They also said that they were worried because they had lost track of following him in Pullman. I think they had eyes on him like December 1st, trying to see what he was doing.
Well, yeah, because there was 120 people on this, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think they had people following him around in Pullman, early December. Whether they talked to him or not, I don't know.
Do you remember when Ann Taylor wrote up her discovery supplemental and she was asking questions to say, we don't have this recording of Brian being interviewed, and then they were like, we don't have there is no Brian being interviewed by Payne. We have this FBI recording, or the FBI didn't record it or something like that.
I've heard talkings of it, but it might have been.
Well, no, it was in the
might
documents.
have come out. Yeah, no, but that might have come out when I wasn't paying attention to the case.
Okay.
So I've heard people talk about it, but I don't know specifics.
Yeah. So when I went back and rechecked everything, they were saying we want all interviews, interrogations, anything to do with our client. And then they said those didn't exist. And then they said, well, what about this date and time? But it was redacted and what have you.
Oh, so we don't know the date?
Well, this is why I said it, is the reason that then she came back being so specific is if it's like, say that you're my lawyer, right?
Right.
And so you're like, hey, Lana, how are you? Whatever. And we're going through things. And then you say to me, well, were you ever interviewed by anybody? And I'm like, yeah, I was interviewed. And you're like, wait, what do you mean? And you're like, Lana, what are you talking about? I'm like, I was interviewed on such and such date. Well, who interviewed you? Like, who was it? It was the FBI. The FBI interviewed me. And I walked them around my they actually came to the school. They came into my office, like my TA area. They were there and they asked me about my car. They asked me about my white Elantra.
Right.
And asked me where I was.
Does she give specifics on it?
No, I'm just saying, like, so if I told you that and you're my lawyer, right?
Right.
Then you would put what in discovery when you're making a supplemental request?
I would ask for that.
You would ask. You would say, you would say,
videotape.
I need such and such recording, such and such video record, like, video, audio, blah, 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 of this interview that took place between so-and-so and so-and-so. Right? And then, because then when I was reviewing the documents, I went back, and that's why it was all confusing about when they were like, Payne didn't interview so-and-so. There is no records of Payne interviewing anybody. But then they provided...
See, I thought that was post-arrest before he got back to Idaho. Because I've heard, like, talk of Moscow police interviewing Brian when he was still in Pennsylvania. I was actually going to ask you about this when you got here, like, off air, because I've
So when I went back and did my research on this, no. See, I think that Ann Taylor is a smart motherfucker. And I think that if you told me that and we knew exactly, like, so Brian's a smart person. Did you get a card from somebody who interviewed you? I'm sure you got a card. Yeah, they gave me their card here. If you remember, if you could think of anything, here's my card type of thing, right?
Or at least he'd know, like, the general time and date.
Yeah. So then if you're Ann Taylor, wouldn't you write something up like, I'm looking for the interview between this person and this person, knowing that Brian wasn't interviewed by that person, but she would come back, or they would come back and say, that doesn't exist, but we provided you, but here's this interview. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or
so kind of like fishing for the actual interviewer.
Because you're going to try to, like, if you're going to play some games, if they're playing games with you, right? Especially if this happened after you fucking pulled out from my preliminary hearing that I was supposed to have.
Right.
Once you did that, that's as soon as Ann Taylor got the information that Brian Culper was indicted, okay, by and I'm still trying to figure out if they ran the federal grand jury at the same time that they were running the state grand jury, but once Ann Taylor got wind of that, because I truly believe that she was not notified of any of that happening, she knew that could be a possibility, right? But she was preparing to have a preliminary hearing, and then that completely got pulled from her.
Right.
There was no...
Which isn't suspicious at all.
Well, it's normal. People are usually... That's how people are normally indicted. So why they want to... why?
But why
that
the
just tells
emergency
me that
midnight
people
one?
didn't get it. That's why I want to know. That's why I want to know how many days. So like I got the Karen Reed information here, and they had April this day. There was all these days to have all this, these grand juries and the minutes and all that crap. So then I look at this. Yeah, 901 in chat. Thumbs it up, thumbs it down. You have an opinion, make it known. So with that said, I'm just starting to think back that, oh, Dr. Latina.
Oh, hi. I'm in my PJs. Sorry. I've been here for like 20 minutes knitting.
I'm sorry, I didn't even see it because it was all the way down in my little feed.
No, it's fine. I just have been listening, knitting, and
what are you knitting?
Oh, I'm knitting myself a cowl. Do you know what a cowl is? Like here. Where's my camera?
Well,
in other words, put it over your head.
Okay. Oh yeah, for like when you go in the shower?
No.
Oh.
No, this is my hair thing. No, a cowl. No. For the winter time, like it's a short scarf.
Oh, okay. I got you now.
Like that.
Okay.
But I do have something that I've knit for you that I'm going to send to you. It's too late season.
Oh, okay. Well, I wear whatever, whenever.
But I have a long one for you.
Oh, look at that!
This it's like.
Oh yeah, that's so good. Yeah.
And it kind of has a little prideful looking.
How long does it take you to do that?
Well, I don't know, a few days. Anyway, this is yours that I'm going to mail to you, and it's got a little hat tip to.
I love orange.
To the LGBT thing.
Orange is my favorite color too.
Oh, really? So anyway, that's for you. I'm going to get that to you, and you put it on, and then you wrap it around. But that is not why I came on.
Okay, you tell me why you came on, baby girl.
Well, I honestly, Alana, I really dipped out for probably 5 months on this case. It's been too depressing, too disgusting, too immoral. Not you. I mean, the whole state of Idaho prosecution.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
And I mean, I think finally, they're being, there's revelation being shown. I've got a voice to hear myself. That they are just corrupt. I mean, we've known this, but the one thing I want to ask you about, and see, I don't have the time on in front of me. I don't know this young man, Twiz. Hi, Twiz. If
he lives in the area.
You know me from Dagos.
I do.
You have to. Well, at least my name. I don't know if we've ever talked on panel, but you know me.
We've talked. Give me who you are.
Twizzlestick.
Twizzlestick.
I don't.
Who names
That's crazy. How do you not know me?
God, man. Have you? I mean, I'm on Dago all the time, but I
mean, you've heard him say Twiz before. I built his computer. Well, I didn't build it, but I helped him.
I didn't know that. I'm sort of out of it. I come and go.
That's okay.
It's like I get my lunch break. I'm on for 10 minutes, whatever. But I'm so sorry. I will remember you.
You'll never.
I'm offended.
Oh, total offense. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's my thing, and maybe you guys can answer this. Okay, forgetting the timeline because I'm not sure about the timeline and what I'm about to say. But I can imagine, I think I said this in your chat a few weeks ago, Lana, that I could imagine myself, if I were going to be a prosecutor, I would say, okay, let's say he did drive out to that park and he smoked some reefer or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
Having a little noogie with somebody, whatever. So he's out there. What's to say that he didn't leave his phone? He grabs a bike and he goes down the bike path down to Moscow.
Oh, it's way far.
It would take too long.
It would take way too long.
Yeah.
To bike it would be like, holy shit. It would be like how many 3 hours?
Oh,
it's gonna be 3 hours.
I thought it was closer. Okay.
Don't you think so? It's a 45-minute drive, isn't it? 40 minutes?
It's 41 on the quickest route, but you also have that fat hill coming out of the park.
Yeah, I think you're looking
at
it.
He is in his car. I'm just giving you all the conspiracy things. How about if he's in his car, he goes, that pot shop where I think he turns left or something? Right? Is that not right? To go out to the park, or he never gets near any of Moscow?
So if he went to the park, he never was close to Moscow.
At 100. All. Is there anywhere that he could have been in the car where somebody along the way could have dropped him off close to Moscow without
Nope,
us?
it's in the opposite
You'd
direction.
have to leave your phone and you'd have to go earlier.
So forget that. So that okay,
Yeah.
good. So that's all.
Yeah. Basically, what I've come to the conclusion is that they decided to put 10 on 2, and they did it in a way that.
What do you mean by 10 on 2? What does that mean?
When you put 10 on 2, like, okay, 1 + 1 = 2, right? If 1 + 1 = 2, you don't need to do anything to make 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
So, but if you put 10 on top of 2, it doesn't make 1 + 1 = 2 anymore.
Right.
But you can compel it to do like this. 3 minus 1 = 2, right?
Correcto.
Okay, 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 0 = 2. So
Correct.
here we're gonna try to do it in every way possible to show you that 1 + 1 = 2, and 2 is Brian Kohlberger. So therefore, we're gonna have and show and say that Cast did this, and this is how we did all of this, but Cast really didn't do that. Cast is not really indicative of what they're saying, and so therefore they put 10 on 2.
Okay.
To
my
make their
screen is
to make
showing
their
if you want
case.
to show the map.
Okay, of where that's at. Yeah, we can do that.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
so-
the math. This is yeah.
This is the park right here.
Like, see where his little pointer is?
Oh, let me expand the screen. Okay. Show me again. Your little pointer. Yeah.
This is the park. This is Moscow.
Oh.
So you drive from Pullman this way. You're going the opposite direction of Moscow.
Like, you never cross over.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's pretend. Take your pointer, and where's my Pullman?
Pullman's right here.
I'm just being devil's advocate.
And then
Yeah, no, I
Moscow's
got you.
over there.
Right,
To the
and
right.
Moscow's east. So let's pretend, and this is all fantasy land here, but let's pretend somebody else was driving with him, and he got out right outside of the camera area of. How long would it take him to bike to Moscow? I'm waiting for them to come up with something like that. This is what I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, a theory.
I'm waiting for them to try to put a hole in this.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I was so adamant about this whole, like, why are you limiting this time frame from 4:06 to 4:19? Because remember, everything revolves around that car. They're
Right.
saying whoever committed this murder was in that car. Make sense?
Yeah, I got it. So I know.
Okay.
It's asinine that I.
Well, they're just married to that. That's
But they
like,
are
now
married to it.
they're
But
married
it's-
to that, and that car has nothing in it. That car doesn't have. That's what I always said. Like, boom, show me that car. That should light up, right? And the minute that it didn't, you had everybody that's saying that it should have. Then they got some fucking whack ass reason as to why it didn't. They're talking about the way that it was cleaned. Y'all, come on. People try to clean up this shit all the time. And see, that's my hang up, and it should be all of your guys' hang up, is that car should be lit as a tit. And so should all of the piping inside of Brian Kohlberger's apartment.
Exactly.
Like
and here's
his
the thing, but
taking a shower.
what kills me is Coffendorfer. She pigeonholed him on day 1, and then she and everybody else in the legacy media and in in the true crime community here, many people sort of said he's it, and wait till we see his car light up and his apartment light up. And then when it didn't, then Coffendorfer somehow squirrely, that she is, changed her story and said there was another way that he could complete it or something, which is completely impossible. But what I want to know from you right now, can I just, because I am behind, I have nothing intellectual to offer you. My math skills suck. 10 on 2.
Well, that's just when you try to when you're trying to put 10 on 2. If I tell you something and then I try to bolster it, I'm putting 10 on 2.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I'll figure it out once I get a glass of wine on or something. I agree with you. This whole Karen Reed thing, I've been really following this, and Coffendorfer also. Just she really is not a critical thinker. I honestly, with all due respect, I don't know how the hell she made it into the FBI.
Amen.
I really don't, because I'm going to tell you right now, when I went to medical school, and she's around my age, I mean, we were 10% women. Okay, so you couldn't be dumb to get, you had
to or no, wait, if you suck and fuck, you can be dumb.
True. And let me tell you something about my medical school real quick. I reminded my mom about this because she said to me, "Oh, I remember." My mom's 93, and she was remembering the sexism that occurred in my medical school. She's like, "Didn't you wear that tutu to a party?" I'm like, "No, Mom, I never wore a tutu." Do you know that in my medical school every year, the Department of Surgery had a pimp and whore party?
Yes, I would have been there.
Dressed up as a whore?
No, I would have been dressed up as a fairy fucking godmother.
Well, let me tell you something.
I would have crashed the party.
If you were dressed up as a whore, and of course, only the women were dressed up as whores. You couldn't dress up as a pimp. You had
It's
to
just a whore party?
a pimp and whore party run by the Department of Surgery at my medical school. And then you had to sit on the laps of the surgeons and the surgery residents. I'm not kidding, man.
But it was only 10% female?
Correcto.
How are they pimping then? They're sharing chicks. That ain't
They
pimping.
Who knows?
Everybody's sharing.
I never went to the pimp and whore party. And it affected my grade. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But why would I even bring up a pimp and a whore party? Oh, because I'm bringing up Coffindoffer. Because I can tell you, as somebody that was in that day and age, to get into something like the FBI or medical school, you know, you had to be like you had to be pretty smart. But again, unless you wanted to go to the pimp and the whore party, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. All I know is Jennifer doesn't make any sense. She said that John O'Keefe's, all of his gashes on his arm were from the glass. Me and Bella lost our shit when we heard that, so she can just get straight fucked. So her logic, her reason, she has no
critical thinking.
None. No, and not even like cause and effect. Like there's just she legit, when she makes her little tweets, I about fall over in my chair.
I can't read it anymore because she would come back.
Well,
I would make a comment and she would come back out.
Do you think the FBI is like, dude, just please don't talk and please don't say our name?
There's an ex-CIA agent on YouTube named Andrew Bustamante. You guys should listen to him because he says a lot of stuff. But he says that pretty much every single FBI, CIA agent that goes on mainstream media was never a part of an agency.
Well, they were just like part of the general admission or something?
Well, the thing is they can't prove that they worked there. They can't disprove that they worked there. So that you can just say you worked for the FBI and they would never know.
So let me ask you a question.
Oh,
yeah, because they don't. Yeah, they can't.
Okay,
so,
but where do you
if you take this out right here and you put like the FBI cast analysis in here instead of the microscopic hair analysis, which caused 3,000 cases to be looked at, this would be wouldn't you say this would be problematic for the FBI?
It's going to be totally problematic, but what I'm
so this will be a reason to keep it all hush hush. That, I mean, you have somebody that's saying that they can prove that Brian Kober was somewhere else, right? And so then that brings into question the FBI's cast ability, right? And they're going to have to talk about how they did this and talk about how flawed it is, or their testimony, and then they're going to go back and see that this is, wow, how many cases did we use this in now that we have X, Y, and Z, or that this could have been, so this becomes huge problematic because I'm over here thinking, why is the FBI, if they were so in concert with Moscow Police Department, with Idaho State Police Department, if all these agencies pull together for the greater good of, we're going to solve 4 murders that happen at the same time by the same culprit, we're going to come together for the common good. This isn't about ego. This isn't about this. This isn't about that. This is about justice and truth, right? Then why aren't we collectively staying together? And instead, Bill Thompson was over there getting read as Santa.
He's going to blow a gasket.
Yeah. And because he keeps saying, we don't have this, we don't have this. And it's like, well, how could you write up a PCA if you didn't have this? Right. Okay. So either you're going to lose your case, which means you're going to let, and this is what they were willing to do. So because Bill Thompson couldn't get it from them, he then had to call somebody up to say, listen, I have a motion to compel. I need this. And they're saying either we're not going to give it to you or it doesn't exist. And then he's like, holy fucking shit. What do you mean it doesn't exist? What do you mean it doesn't exist? What do you mean? This is what we arrested this man off of. If I go in there and tell him that this doesn't exist, he's walking out the door. So
yeah, but guess what? The prosecution still wins. That's the thing, Lana.
How do they win? No, they don't win.
You want to see something funny, Draw?
No, they wouldn't win. They wouldn't win.
No, wait. Let me just finish my sentence. Okay, then I'll hear Twiz. But hear me out for 1 second. They would, quote, win. No, they wouldn't win the case. But Moscow and the University of Idaho would win.
100%. They chose money over murder.
He goes walking. They quote win, even though they get me, because now they don't have to go after the real culprits.
Well,
or no?
No. What I'm trying to say is that you guys had an opportunity back then to do it the right way, so that maybe even the real culprit would be convicted, right?
They didn't want to, Lana.
But they pressed the issue so much that they wanted to make sure that everybody came back to school, so the money train kept moving, and they risked their case. They risked their money, and they chose them. I'm sorry. They risked losing their case for the money. And that is why Steve Gonsalves and all these parents should sue the fucking shit out of the university, and they should ask for all of the correspondence between the university and the police department, the university and Idaho State Police, the university and the FBI. Any type of correspondence between the university and anything to do with this case needs to be sought by these parents, and they need to sue the fuck out of this institution, because I'm telling you right now, they picked money over.
But time is ticking. Don't you remember when they signed that thing and it was 1.5 years or something?
Yeah, they have until I think like this week.
All I've done is pump the information to give it to the families to go forward. And if they don't pull the trigger, that's their fault. They need to pull the trigger. If that was my kid, I played you the clip that said Bill Thompson would send his kid back to school if he had one. Okay. And it's because of what he knows. What he knows.
What he knew was they were, that Brian was going to be their patsy. No?
How about this? It means that you had, because he made that comment back in November. It means that you had eyes on the killer. Okay. And that means that, don't worry, he is not going to mess with anybody because we're watching him. All right. And then when the moment comes and we can get this arrest warrant so that we can arrest him, we will grab him. But in the meantime, we are watching him. We have him surrounded by all of our resources, right? And that's what I saw in Bill Thompson when he did his interviews. But more importantly, they were so hell-bent on making sure that everybody came back to school that they didn't have it yet, and they still arrested Brian Koberger in Pennsylvania. And they did it when nobody was around campus. They did it, and then they brought him back over here. And then now you're looking at, okay, we arrested him on what we thought y'all could prove. And now nobody's coming with the pony. Nobody's ponying up the dough. Nobody has the goods that y'all said. So think about this. If I go and present a lawsuit against you, that's where Latina, and I say that you were defaming me and that you did X, Y, and Z, and I take you to civil court, and I'm going to pony up all this evidence to show that you did all of this, and I don't have it. Then what happens? Then the fucker gets tossed.
Yeah, but I don't think judge is going to have the cojones to
when you come to where we're talking about a motion to compel discovery, we're talking about evidence that you said that you arrested my client off of. I don't have that, and it's this day. Judge, we're not asking for them. We're asking for stuff that was in the PCA to be turned over.
So what do you think is going to happen? And then I want to ask me a question. I think that there was a huge. I personally think that in order to not violate Brian Koberger's rights, number one, that's most important. In order to not violate his rights, which means that we cannot have a closed hearing, you just have to compel some stuff, right? So there was some type of compelling of discovery was sent Ann Taylor's way to see if they could say, okay, here, we gave you this, this, and this. And the judge can at least say, all right, well, they gave you this, so there's no reason to have the motion. There's no reason to have a hearing because they gave you stuff, right? And so you have to go through it. So that's what I think happened in terms of keeping yourself off the hot seat of violating someone's rights and not having to have a public hearing for us all to see what the fuck has been going on. That's your way to getting out of it. What do you predict in the next week?
Nothing's going to happen because I believe that there was transferring of stuff.
Yeah. So they met the threshold.
They met it enough of the
threshold.
Well, that Ann Taylor would have to go through it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. All right. I don't mean to hijack.
Now Twizzy, go ahead.
I want to ask Twiz something.
Share my screen.
You're not the guy.
And she can ask.
Okay, here, hold on.
I want to ask Twiz. I think I know who you are, but
There you
Ask
go.
it.
Are you're not Brian Koberger's friend from high school?
No, that's Willie.
I know
He's
that's
in chat.
I know Willie, and your voice is not the same, but I'm thinking, how? I just don't know. I'm so sorry I don't know you, but now I'll look out for you.
That's crazy because I've known you for like a year, ever since I first got to Dago.
Damn it! And maybe who knows? I'm a kind of like a flake.
Everyone in chat is saying I'm too big for my branches because I think everyone should know me. No, I knew her before I even got on panels, you weirdos.
Oh, I don't see any of that happening in chat.
Oh, it happened earlier. They'll admit to it.
I don't even. You guys like. Chat just
people say hi.
I don't ever let two people on at once. I'm doing it because it's Mother's Day.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll hush. But listen,
this is a menage a trois Mother's Day.
Okay, listen. Wait. Oh, when I go on different channel chats, people are like, "Hi, Doctora Tina, it's great to see you again." I'm like, "And you are?" I mean, it's kind of.
I just love that you're crocheting me a beautiful ambiance there, or whatever it is. There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so Twizzler. Tell me what's up.
All right, look at the map. Remember page 13 of the PCA when they say that Brian's phone turned on approximately 4:44 or 4:48 in the morning, south of Moscow, near Blaine, north of Genesee?
Yeah.
So this is a cell tower, okay?
Yep.
This is south of Moscow, near Blaine, north of Genesee, but you also connect to this tower in Washington. Now, none of these towers show that they go out towards the park, right? But I get service when I cross this road. So what my theory is that when he crosses this road and connects to service at approximately 4:48 in the morning, he actually connects to that tower.
Right.
And Payne placed him south of Moscow, near Blaine, north of Genesee, because that's where he needed him to be.
I see. So it was just serendipitous that he right at 4:48.
I don't think that Payne. Sorry about that. I don't think that Payne placed him there, though. I personally think that FBI did it. My personal take is that the FBI told him that, and that they told him, here, yep, go ahead and do this. And so that's why Ann Taylor is saying you're covering for the FBI. Who told you these things? Because we know that Payne is not qualified to say any of this shit. So who did you consult with?
Right. I mean, in the PCA, it says Payne got handed the cash report and consulted with an FBI agent. So what I think is possible
there was no cash report. The cash report was not done up until March 21st, 2023. So there was no cash report.
The full one, but the draft.
I don't think there was any report. I don't think
so
any
you don't
report
think
existed.
Well, how would 100%. He know that he connected to the cell service then?
Because he consulted with somebody, and that's so like me talking to you, and I'm not giving you shit of mine because I'm the FBI. I can't do that. That's my product. That's my work product, and that stays with the FBI. I can't give you shit of that. You have to go through the proper channels to get any of my work product. You simply come to me and you ask me questions, and you say, "Hey, is this? Is it possible that?" If he was hitting off of this tower, that he would have been over here and over here. And you get what I'm saying? Like he's asking him those things. And so somebody is then saying, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's possible.
No, that's my theory too, right? Because I'm telling you that the FBI could have seen that he would have connected the same tower on this side. Because all he can see is how far from the tower he is. They can't tell exactly where he is.
I don't think they did anything like this, though. I don't think they even did that. I think that it's all lies.
Medicine is a curbside consult.
And I don't believe that the FBI is willing to testify to it. And
I don't
think that's
think
the problem.
They will be either. I think they had more information than his phone just connected back to service, though.
I think if the FBI testifies to anything, they expose themselves to so much shit that would fuck up everything.
Oh, no.
Therefore, they can't.
The FBI is not going to testify to this.
I'm saying because the reason I'm saying, though, that they can't is because it's wrong.
Oh, yeah. No, the FBI is not going to. But
it's going to come out how they do it, and once that comes out, then it's going to take all the other cases that they've done, just like the hair shit that happened about 10. Everything happens in our world within 10 years, 5 to 10 years. It's always like a cycle of something coming up that like enhancement of this or that. And so think about it. Once the Innocence Project hit, it was that DNA was exonerating people, right? Well, I said to myself, when is it going to be that phones start exonerating people? when is it going to come to that somebody could interpret your phone, my phone, all this tower shit? When is it going to come to the point that could be actually just like how DNA exonerated people, right? When are phones going to be used to exonerate people?
I think it happens all the time. We just don't know about it. Because one of the interesting things about the towers out here is that there's not enough towers to triangulate. All they can see is how far away from the tower that you are. In most big cities, you can pretty much pinpoint where people are through the triangulation.
Let me ask you this. I think the bottom line is this. How heavy was the PCA relied upon with the cast report? You needed that in order to arrest Brian Kober. So if you take that out of it, would somebody sign that warrant to arrest him? And I think the answer is no.
I think they would have still had probable cause.
How?
There's a white car driving around the house, and he drove a white car.
Right, but
there's no way in hell a white car gets you fucking probable cause to arrest somebody.
I'm not saying it's great, but
I love you to death, but you know that's not. There's no way in hell.
Well, I still don't understand how they justified arresting him in the first place.
The cast report with his phone was everything, trying to say he shut his phone off and then he turned his phone back on and it was over here. That was a huge part of it, to saying that he alluded to being caught. If you take out the cast, what do you? If you take out the cast, and the phone is also the phone is also the cast, so everybody has to understand that. Like, your phone is, you take that out, you have nothing besides touch DNA in this case, and there is no way in hell touch DNA is going to hold up.
There is an issue with that, because they have him on camera here at 253. Taking a right down this hill, right? And they say it connects to Main Street, which connects to Moscow. That has nothing to do with cast.
But
they're claiming he drove to Moscow from here.
I understand that, but how are you saying that they're saying that that's him? Is it his car?
I think no.
Especially, I would be saying that it was my car. I'd be like, yeah, that is me. And I went. Are you talking about the 255 one? Because I'm talking about he goes the other way.
Yeah, 253.
There's two cars. I believe there's two cars in WSU because of the 9 minutes. You can get away with that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to come true, because there's no point if he's just driving around in circles around Pullman, right? There's no point in going. Well, you said that another car came around the corner at the same time, right? Why would Brian go up here to begin with?
Well, how do we know that car just didn't park right there for 2 hours, 3 hours? How do we know that that's the car then that was on camera in 9 minutes?
I mean, we don't.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say is you can't. So for all we know, there was two vehicles, and that's what I believe. I believe that there was two vehicles. And I would say, yeah, the second one is my vehicle, because then I went this way. I went
at 253.
Yeah, because the first one that you see, that's a vehicle. Then you see another one, and they're going to say that's the same vehicle. But unless you consider that that's the same vehicle based off of identifications as in license plates, you can't. Yeah. You can't say that. I mean, you can try to, but
don't they say that they have his plate in Pullman?
No.
Before the crime?
100% not.
The one thing that they did say.
That's why they could never connect that car to Moscow, and they were trying to connect it with.
Well, I know they never got it in Moscow. They don't have shit in Moscow.
Well, they were trying to connect it with the Floyd camera that just came out, and I was like.
Well, even all those cars around starting at 326, I can show you how that's impossible if you went to the park.
Okay, but can I just say something? I thought
one
thing in the PCA, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, or something that they've hung their hat on, the prosecution, is that he did not have, what was it, the front license plate or tag.
Right.
So they must have something on camera or video that sees a car that only has a back license tag. No?
Or a missing front tag.
They just don't have they have a car that doesn't have a front tag, and they're saying that in Pennsylvania, that's allowed. But in Washington, you have to have.
If your car's registered in Washington, you get 2 plates.
Right. So is it just coincidence then that they claim that
that's what they're trying to claim? And I'm saying that that's perfectly fine, though, because his car is there, because he's saying that he was driving around, right?
Well, he was driving around Washington.
Yeah, that's why his car should be around there.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is this: back your screen out for a second. I'm going to tell you what I think. Back at
How far do you
244,
want?
back at 244 or
Right.
242, when they are trying to say that it is consistent with him being at his residence.
Right.
That's where I call bullshit. Okay. It's also consistent with being anywhere that area would emit, like, whatever that's going to hit on. They're
Right.
just saying that that's consistent with him being at his residence because it's consistent with that's the tower that his phone would utilize. But it's
Right.
also consistent with him being somewhere else already. Okay,
Sure.
remember how she says that we're going to talk about where he was prior and after and all those things. So when you want to talk about where he was at 242, it's going to be, I think he was already that way. You're just able to get away with saying that it's consistent with being on this tower. And that's where the whole cast thing is going to come into play, because I don't even believe that that's right.
All right, let me just quickly ask, where is it that they think they saw a car, a white Elantra with no front tag? On what video?
That
I don't
came
think they've ever
in-
said that, have they?
Yeah, no, that came over there at the 700 block. It didn't have a front.
Oh, of Indian
In
Hills?
Moscow.
Mhm.
In Moscow on the morning of.
Correct.
Right.
So
So show me the tower that his apartment would hit off of,
It should be
that
this
you-
tower because his apartment is.
because what I'm going to show you is that I don't think that he was anywhere around there. Because I want to show you guys the area that this would cover. Money.
Stadium Way. His apartment should be.
Yeah, so it's right in that area, but this tower.
His apartment's like right here.
So show the area that the tower covers. It's consistent with. So it's consistent with being in that
this
triangle.
tower goes all the way out here. Yeah, anything that's shaded.
In that blue, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a big.
Yes.
Big tower, but
So-
his apartment
okay,
is.
So this is my point, is that you can be as far as go all the way left, like, well, on your screen left. Go to the furthest point to the left that you could be, and you could
On this-
physically right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, would that be on any camera? No. The answer is no.
I don't think so.
So then this is how an expert would testify to that. So if they were over here all the way at this point down to the left, if they were to use their cell phone, what tower would it hit? And they would say, would it be consistent with hitting off of the tower that he uses in his house or apartment? And yes, but you're all the way down here. So it's also consistent with hitting from here from the beginning, unless we go further beyond in front of 242 or 224, you have to go back. Like, what was he doing at 1 o'clock in the morning? Where was he at midnight? Where was he at 11, at 10, 9, 8? Where was he? What is he doing before you get to the point of trying to say, we're going to start Brian Kohlberger's day? And this is always something that's bothered me and Bella, to say, what was Brian Kohlberger doing that whole entire day leading up and until 2:45 in the morning? And that's all been hush-hush curtains. Like, nobody wants to talk about that. Okay? And for me, I believe that they want to say that's consistent. Fuck yeah, you can say that, because you need to say that for to get the arrest warrant. Yes. But it's also consistent with never even being over there.
Right,
and I
right.
think that's what Cy Ray is going to be testifying to, because it's like, wait a second. You guys are taking a window like this, but you guys could have done it this way, which is X, Y, and Z, and you chose not to because it shows something completely different. And this is way more of a probability, but you didn't go and get his phone. But once you got his phone, what did y'all do with the fucking data? And the data shows something completely different when you actually have his phone. Boom. And that's the type of shit to say, who authored to go ahead and say, sign my name to that fucking cast report that's complete bullshit, and y'all knew it was bullshit after you got his phone, and you fucking tried to bury it. And then you tried to railroad this motherfucker, and I have a fucking problem with that. Because this is what I have my track. This is what he fucking created. He created shit like this. But he's going to show you how accurate probably. I've been watching every single one of his episodes. I've been binging. Y'all should binge. Because I want to know.
Good.
I want to know what the fuck this man could possibly be testifying to and why he was there. He was there in December. People think that he just came out of the blue. Cy Ray didn't come out of the blue. Ann Taylor, for whatever reason, whoever told Ann Taylor to seek him out, she sought him out. And I think it has everything to do with the motherfucking FBI. And I think the FBI is going motherfucking down, and they should. Because the FBI, after I read this shit, okay, they want to, and then I heard about a federal grand jury. You're trying to pull this case and make it federal so that you can hide this shit? Fuck you, fuck no, no way. And if that family and all these families don't fucking sue, they're stupid. And I put that on the record. They're stupid.
They are for sure.
Get your fuck. I'm telling you,
Lana,
they lied.
Have you reached literally like emailed them your opinion to these families? No.
No, I mean,
you're in contact with the Gonzalez.
I'm just an aggressive mom, and I would fucking nail anybody that tried to lie to me about my kid's murder.
No, Lana,
I would fucking hammer. I would hammer you.
Do you expect that the four families have heard you on your channel, or have you been able?
Yeah, I think they've been over here.
You do? Okay.
I think they've been over here. I want the truth to come out. If Brian Koberger did it, you think I want him to see the light of day? Fuck no, he's dangerous if he did it right. Fuck no, I don't want somebody like that being out. So then I have to ask you this. You guys, if he's truly the man, I believe that they could have got him. And did they say, well, we're just going to violate everybody's rights, or we're going to go ahead and lie about this, and we're going to lie about that. And then here, this man could walk because y'all tried to do all this crazy shit. And now a killer's going to walk, and the families don't get the truth because you guys did whatever the fuck you did. And I have a problem with that. I have a huge problem with that. And that's why when we don't have trials that are public, we the people don't get to see truly what's going on. And that's why I love Alan Jackson and Little and Yannetti with the Karen Reed case. They could have suppressed all of that evidence so that it never saw the light of day. The solo cups not being properly contained. That should have never saw the light of day, but they did not suppress the evidence. You want to know why? Because we're going to use that and your guys' little way that you went about it against you. Just like in this case, I wouldn't suppress any of this shit. I would let it all stand, and I would let everybody know how the fuck people operate. And if you can fucking bend corners and do this, you guys went through the loophole and you violated your own policy in the IGG.
Right.
But yet we can't get John Benet Ramsey's parents have been begging y'all to do the IGG, and y'all won't do that with that case. But right out the rip, here's Bill Thompson saying he was involved in that. And he said, let's go with IGG. That was his call. He was involved with that. That's part of the protocol. That's the DOJ protocol, is that your prosecutor is involved with that. That means it was his fucking decision. He was making them. And that's why he was doing over here Today's Show and Nightline. All this bullshit. Have you ever seen a motherfucking prosecutor do that shit in an investigation like this to this level? My answer is no, I haven't. And here he just wants to sit down with Good Morning America, and he wants to sit down with the Today Show and show off his beard. He should have probably did some braids and shit. And he wants to say, I would send my kids to university because I know what you guys don't. Awesome. That's what the parents want to hear. That's what the victims deserve. No, I think he's a joke. And I think that that's the old boys club down there. But more importantly, I think that people that are officers and have power, it's called protect and serve. Protect comes before serve.
Who are they protecting?
Yeah, start exactly.
Well, exactly.
Protect who? No, Lana, I think we have the same end result. I think our stories are just a little bit different.
Right.
Because that's what I'm saying too.
Because I'm nervous. I'm nervous because people can say to me, and it's been said to me, Steve Gonsalves said to me, so if Brian Koberger did it, you're willing to let him walk free, knowing that he did it, and there's all this evidence that can prove that he did it, but we violated his rights, so he's going to walk. And I said to myself, if you have the right people in position to run an investigation, none of that would ever happen. So how about this? You guys think that you have it all made because you guys voted these people in their positions? Think twice about who you have protecting people, because I can promise you that the people that actually are good cops and good lieutenants, sergeants, detectives, all these people, nothing like this would have happened. The university got involved and wanted to just do X, Y, and Z. Or is there truly a lot of bad apples in Idaho? Either way you slice and dice it, I believe that when you're smart enough and you stick to what you're trained to truly do, you would get whoever committed this crime if it was so sloppy. You would get them. And if it took you a couple extra weeks or a couple extra months, I would tell them that I wouldn't care about the university's money. Fuck your money. Well, guess what they basically told you? Fuck you. We don't care about your daughters. We don't care about your son. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we get our money. And we're going to go ahead and try to just pin him up like this. We can't allow this. So arrest him and let them make their case after the fact. He'll probably take a plea deal. He did it. So blah, blah. But maybe he didn't do it. Maybe he didn't do it and you guys tried to frame the wrong guy. Or maybe he did do it and you still tried to frame the right guy and now he's going to walk. Either way, this shit has to stop. Because I've seen so many African Americans that this happens to that they're not guilty. They're not guilty, but they're so scared that they do take a plea deal here. I'll cop to 30, 40 years. You'll be out in 20. And we're not talking about this type of a case. We're just talking about a case in general. And then it's cases that come
Willie
back.
Had a lady call in last week and she was telling us her story with her brother. If her brother didn't have her, because she has a good job and had $35,000 sitting in the bank, if he didn't have her, he would have had that exact situation come on him. They threw like 15 felonies at this kid just trying to get him to plead to 2. But she was able to afford a lawyer and get him out. Yeah. And he was 100% innocent.
Yeah. And Ann Taylor believes in his innocence. Everybody that's repping Brian Kober right now believes in his innocence. And let me tell you something. You would have a huge problem. You don't have to say that as a defense attorney.
Yeah, right.
In fact, defense attorneys don't say those things. So why is Ann Taylor coming out, and not just Ann Taylor, her whole team is coming out saying he is innocent?
Defense attorneys aren't there to prove you're innocent anyways. They're there to protect your rights. You don't have to be innocent to have your rights protected.
You don't say anything like that. You just don't hear people.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, but that's what everyone says. Well, all defense attorneys say their guy's innocent. No, they don't. That's not the defense attorney's job. Their job is to defend your rights and protect your rights from the state. That's what a defense attorney's job is.
And guess what? At the end of the day, I think Ann Taylor knows that a jury decides Brian Kober's fate. So the other thing is that there's a gag order. So don't you think you're going to be smart about using a public hearing to show stuff that you couldn't normally get out any other way than a public hearing? That's called smart. Like, everyone thinks right now that Brian Kober is a monster killer, yada, 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 because of all of these people saying all of these things, right? So I have to use public hearings to show that we don't have the discovery that we were promised and that we should have had so long ago, because it's what you used to arrest my client, and now it doesn't exist. And now you want to take away that public hearing so that nobody knows about this? Are you out of your fucking minds? Right. And now how do you get it so that it doesn't happen that way? You're going to ask for a private hearing, but wait, we can't go and violate his rights. We'll give her a bunch of crap so that we can just kind of postpone this maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think is happening. I think that they fucking gave Ann Taylor a bunch of bullshit, probably dumped her with so much fucking digital bullshit. All right. And you can go ahead and fish
51 terabytes worth?
Who knows? But this is their way of trying to get out of violating somebody's rights. If the hearing doesn't go forward in a closed setting, and if it never has to go forward, then you're not violating his rights. You get what I'm trying to say? Like this is a very fine line here. If this hearing is not public hearing, you're violating his rights.
When
you know what I'm saying?
By the way, when's the
Tuesday.
next?
This Tuesday.
It's closed. It's closed though, so we won't know what happens. But before, at the last hearing, 2 hearings ago, Ann Taylor said to expect testimony coming forward, and then she brought up Cy's name, so that's why we think Cy's going to be there on Tuesday.
Okay.
I don't think that Bill Thompson wants any part of that ass.
Hell no. But the last hearing, I was 3 rows behind Ann Taylor, and she kept up bringing cell phone towers. She kept on saying cell phone towers. I was there, yes.
No, will you be at the next one? Oh, it's closed. You can't go.
It's closed, but I think Lon and I are going to go hang out outside all day. So.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
with megaphones.
All right, listen, I have to go, but because
All
my
right, we
dogs
love you, Dratina.
I'll just say one really quick thing.
Yes, please.
With the Karen Reed, I mean, I've had nothing intellectual to offer tonight. I just appreciate you letting me hang out. So I'm sorry that I have nothing to offer. But I want to say that when I saw how the jury was allowed to go yes to Murdaugh, to the site, and now to the Karen Reed, that house of Albert or whomever that is, right? Didn't the jury get to do it like a foot on the ground?
Yeah, they went to the Albert residence at 34
Correct.
Fairview.
And then the fact that that in this Idaho case, not only were they allowed to like quote donate it to the university, but it got demolished. You know, even if everything was taken out of that house, you still could have gotten an idea about the metrics of where the rooms were located.
I personally think that they were trying to fuck with the cell tower hits from that house. If you're doing tests to see in different parts of the house of where your phone, like, because everybody, like my aunt's house, for example, fuck, I go in that basement, I can't get service to save my life. I have to go out upstairs, outside in the garage, and then I can talk. I can be upstairs in my cousin's bedroom, fine. But there's certain parts of that house that I don't get service, you know? I think it depends on your carrier.
Yeah, so that might be one of the reasons. The last question, do you think that we or the defense will ever have access to the text messages between the two girls, Dylan?
Yes. If this goes to trial, yes.
That's the scary part. If it doesn't go to trial, we're not going to find out a lot of stuff.
Actually, what I've started to realize is that the more that Ann Taylor makes available to the public record, and if she keeps on doing what she's doing to saying that she does not want things sealed, just like in the Shannon Gardner case, all those interviews with people and everything that was typed up that I have, when I say the Shannon Gardner case, that's the case in Florida that Jose Baez just took on, and they did a discovery dump, and here we get all these interviews, not the recordings of them talking, but the police reports of them typing it up. I would kill to see the police reports that they typed up for everybody that they interviewed in this case. Give me that, and I will tell you, I will.
They may not have
motherfucker
or recorded anything, knowing that was the problem.
Well, you know, I think that they're pretty good. I mean, I think they're pretty good about body cams. It's a matter of what you do with the body cams, because I could use my body cam, it's on, but at the end of the day, everybody's so lazy that they just take the report that memorializes that interview with the body cam. Right. You don't want to sit there and listen to 45 minutes, and you have to sit there and listen to another 4. Dude, do you think public defenders do that shit? They fucking don't. But Ann Taylor knows how these motherfuckers work. And it ain't the FBI that she's usually dealing with. She knows how Idaho State Police works. And it's going to come out. I'm telling you, all these people are going to have their dicks and tits nailed to the wall. And there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Okay.
That's what's coming. That's what's
coming. On that note, that eloquent...
People don't want to know what I think about this case.
No. I was just going to say, you know, you're such an eloquent, brilliant woman.
Oh, yeah.
And then this, like, profanity-laden thing.
Yeah.
So on that note, darling,
I love you.
I love you too. I'm going to wish you happy Mother's Day.
You too, baby girl.
I hope that I see you around the block on.
I see you all the time.
You coming
still.
around the block.
Now I'm going
to love you.
I'm tagging you every time.
Love her. She's the best. All right, give it up there. That's a woman that's been around for a long time. She's very knowledgeable. Thank you there, Mouse. Appreciate that. I got some questions for you. Ready? I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Ooh, let's go.
I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to ask me a question. We're going to do top 10 questions, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Am I supposed to have questions for you already?
Yeah, because you're probably going to have something on your mind.
All right. All
right. So question number 1 is everybody says to me, if it's not Brian Kohlberger, then who could it possibly be, right? Mm-hmm. So give it to me. Give it to me on who you would say that if you were investigating this case, who you would use to get the information out. Who do you think that you would go to get the information that you would need to then solve the case? If you had to pick one person that you could sit down and say, listen, I know that you know a bunch of shit. Let's go. We're going to talk about this. We're going to give you immunity and you're going to tell me everything.
I'd probably go to Hunter Johnson first.
You think Hunter Johnson? You think that, listen, we're going to give you full immunity. We just want to know everything that you guys have been involved in the past couple years. Start
Yeah.
writing. Okay. Go ahead. Your question.
I just want to ask you the same thing.
Who do I think I'm going to get information out of? Well, from the looks of it, Steve Gonsalves has not been interviewed. From every interview that he's done, he's saying that he hasn't been interviewed the way that he wishes that he would have been interviewed. So I'm going to go with Steve Gonsalves.
Steve Gonsalves, do you think he knows what really goes on in that house? If there is trafficking in and out of the house?
No, but I would give him full immunity to tell me why everything that went on with his daughter and why she left early, why she wouldn't go to Austin later. She was looking forward to living with her best friend, as he said, for their last year. They moved in together in that apartment. That was the last year. Why you would cut that short. So I want to know about that. I want to know what happened as to why she was willing to all of a sudden say, I'm going to go to Austin way earlier, and I'm going to go to Europe, and then I'm going to go move in with this girl, Jordan, and a couple more months after that. So I'm going to go with Steve because I want to know about all that. Full immunity.
That'd be an
Steve,
interesting
tell me it
one.
all.
That'd be interesting too.
I think that Kaylee might be a little bit, for whatever reason, the cops honed in on going after all of her socials first. So, but all right, that's question 1 out of the way. Question 2, coming right back at you, is do you think that any of the DNA that was not, I guess you could say, produced in terms of we have a name behind it, do you think that DNA is semen?
Is semen?
Yeah, do you think it's semen?
No, I do not.
So the DNA is not semen?
No.
Okay.
And if it's not semen, it's not very good DNA, according to Superbad.
Okay.
You've seen the movie, right?
I have.
If the perp just put semen everywhere, we would have been able to catch him. Now we can't.
Jeez. What's your question? So your number 2 question.
My number 2 question is, do you think the leaked Steve Gonsalves conversation is real or a fake conversation?
I've never seen it.
Oh.
Who's it between?
Steve and
I believe it's real.
Brat?
I believe
Brat
if
Norton or whatever?
Is it like, was it like a email?
It's text messages, I think.
Oh. If it's
think it's
text
her and
messages,
Brat.
no.
Maybe it's
If it's
Facebook
text
messages.
no. If it's like emails,
It might be Facebook.
Honestly, like, I'm a
message.
horrible person that, like, you might want to ask a different one only because I've never seen any of it.
How did you not see that? It was interesting.
I wasn't concerned. I wasn't any of my
that's
concern. I don't.
Hey,
I'm being
if you
honest.
don't think it's relevant, then don't pay attention
I don't
to
think
it.
it's relevant.
I've done that with several things. I haven't looked at that
Yeah, I don't even
Ashland
know.
couch thing
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, I have not. I couldn't tell you what Ashlyn said at all. I already did my research on her. I think that anybody that wants to play a little bit more closely should look at Emily and her involvement, why the door would be, the locks were changed. I think that has to do with Emily having keys to that place, and there was some type of little
Altercation.
yeah. And I don't
incident.
think that they changed the keys or they changed the lock because of, so just go ask, go ask these parents. I mean, you said you helped change the door. Why? Like, oh, it was broken or it didn't work or somebody had keys and they weren't supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what people don't understand how you ask follow-up questions, but whatever.
Well, I mean, the front door was a keypad, right? All they would have had to do is change the keypad.
Yeah. Yep. All you would have to do is change. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100.
But there is an interesting thing in those conversations with Brat and Steve because it's talking about text messages between Bethany and Dylan, talking about, like, I think they're killing them right now or something. There's a couple good, interesting things in there, if it's true.
Well, then if that was said in there and that came from Steve, I think that Steve would have just been saying that because I don't think that he was ever told that. I've talked to Steve, so I don't think that he's always given the surviving roommates a lot of grace on every interview that he's ever done, and same with Olivia. And I think that they should be given grace, but at the same time, you have to just look at everything, as Moscow Police Department says, in the totality of things. And I just want to know their data. I want to see the data of the phone,
Right.
the timestamps and stuff like that. I think that in order for Bethany to be Ethan and Xana's, witnesses as to when they arrived at the Sigma Chi or when they left the Sigma Chi, that means that she would physically have to be there. And for whatever reason, Moscow Police Department put out numerous times that they were looking into the events surrounding Ethan and Xana's time at Sigma Chi, and so therefore that tells me that there was conflicting information about Ethan and Xana's movements the night of the murder. So
For sure.
but then they went ahead and used with the PCA. They went with it. Bethany had to be the person that was saying that they were home at a certain time, and that information obviously didn't come from people that are dead.
Right.
So your question was the Bratz shit?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I get to do my third question?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is out of the first responders and their body cams, do you think that everybody had a body cam on working, the first responders to the house?
Man, I would hope so, but I have very little faith in Moscow PD.
I do believe that they were working because based off of all the information that I've done on this channel, they go there with their body cams on for noise complaints. They're definitely going to have their body cams on for something like that. So I do believe that they were on. And it's just a matter of if they were interrupted at any point, if they were told to be shut off. But I 100% believe that they walked up with their body cams on, just like a noise complaint. 100%.
That's why I think they would have them on too, but I just don't have very much faith. Not very much faith at all.
Let's see.
Do you think Cy has accessed Brian's phone and all of his cellular info?
I think that if he's listed as it depends on how Ann Taylor has him listed. If he's an investigator, then I would think that he has access to whatever. Except for the IGG, because that's under a separate protective order that Ann Taylor was trying to get revisited so that her investigators could see that. And now knowing that Cy was there before there was ever that protective order, that even I lean more towards Cy having stuff not including the IGG. So it would just be, obviously Ann can only give you things as she's getting them. But I think that if she's working well with investigators that are really well versed in the digitals, that they would be telling Ann things like, there's this out there, you have to get this, this should have been available, they should have done this, they should have this, stuff like that. And so he would probably be telling her what to go ahead and get or what should be available. That's my guess. And that's why you would seek somebody out like that.
Right.
Ann Taylor's done a really good, Ann Taylor's done a really good job of she's like, I'm the lawyer, man. I'm going to litigate this like a motherfucker, but I need a rock star team. You know what I'm saying? So she goes out and gets like the IGG people. Then she went out and got, it's very, I think Ann Taylor's doing everything that she should be doing, or that I would want my attorney to do. Is why would Ann Taylor be doing all of this stuff? She goes out and gets the people that are specialized in that. You know what I mean? That seems to me, that's exactly what the state went out and did, right? So why wouldn't me as a defendant have that,
That's how it should be.
Yeah. So what is it, my turn then?
Yes.
Is this question 4? Did you just do question? Okay. So question 4 is, are you single, for the single mothers out there?
Yes.
All right, there you guys go. You guys are welcome out there. So are you single? And
that's putting me on the spot. Holy Jesus.
And Twizzle said yes. See? Go ahead. You can ask me if I'm single. Don't waste your time.
I already
on that
know you're
question.
not, though.
Okay, there you go. So then don't waste it. You're on to number 4. Oh,
What
can I
do
get
you
one of
think-
these?
Oh my god, you're holding it in the dark. Okay, yes.
All right.
What do
We're gonna
you
give away
think
something.
Steve meant when he said they didn't have to go upstairs?
Ugh. They didn't have to go upstairs. What do I think he meant?
You're happy.
They chose to. Like that he's either, I mean, now knowing that I think how Steve Gonsalves thinks, I don't know how he thinks, but how I think he thinks, that you didn't have to go upstairs, you chose to go upstairs. So obviously what you wanted wasn't on the first or second floor. You know, you didn't have to go upstairs, you chose to go upstairs. So that's
So
what
they
I
didn't
think he
have
meant
to.
by that.
So like, the 2 upstairs weren't a target in any way.
No, or it could be looked at the opposite. That, like, if you just wanted to come in and kill, you could have killed people on the first and second floor. You chose to go upstairs to kill either more people or start your killing spree. But if you just wanted to kill and they were just whoever, then you would have just killed on the first and second floor. You get what I'm like? You chose to go upstairs, like you, and now knowing that you didn't kill on the first floor, right? You went upstairs, not downstairs. If you came in off of the slider, right?
Right.
You go upstairs or you go downstairs. And,
So it'd be like a random killing in your.
or maybe you know you chose to go upstairs because you were downstairs and there was nobody there to kill. But then we all know that Dylan was and Bethany were on the first and second floor and they were not harmed. You chose to go upstairs. That's how I look at it. You chose to go upstairs. You didn't have to. You know, if you were just going in there to get whatever and kill whoever as just like a thrill type of kill, you get what I'm trying to say? Like you, and that's why it's interesting from what he says to then when you hear what Christy says and she says, it was quick. They got in, they got out, you know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards it's all drug related now. And I think when he said that they didn't have to go upstairs is because he thinks that
Well, that would prove
Xana
that
was
you could
connected
just
through her
get.
mom.
Well, that could just prove that you got what you got, right? So then why'd you go upstairs? So then it wasn't about that, right?
Well, if it had to do with the moms and their plea deals like 10 days before this happened, right? For whatever reason, like Xana's mom was like the target, so they didn't have to go upstairs. But I think if it was drug related, it could have just been to send a message like, you cross us, this is what happens to you or your family, you know?
I think Steve has said a bunch of different things. And I mean, if you're going to break it on down, then I think that a defense attorney is going to ask Steve why he ever said that there were 2 different points of, like, the way that they were killed, Maddie and Kaylee. You know, their points of damage don't match. I think that's the
Right.
language that he used. And see,
Right.
to me, as a defense attorney, if I was a defense attorney and I heard that a father said that and he would have had access to both of those females and him saying, who told you that? Who told you that their points of damage didn't match? What did you mean by that? You would want to inquire about that. That's telling me points of damage don't match. That's telling me a lot about the murder weapon, no?
Definitely more than one.
You know, the points of damage don't match. So I would ask what he meant by that and who he heard that from.
She has to have the coroner's report now, right? The medical report?
Bella says that I could also talk to motive. So
Medical examiner's report?
question number 5. Ready?
Yep.
What is the biggest red herring in this case?
The car.
The car. The biggest red herring goes to the car. Interesting. I'm writing our answers down, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm leaning over.
Oh, do your thing.
Biggest red herring of the case. Twiz says it's the car. Biggest red herring. You want to ask me the same question? Because my questions are pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good question.
The biggest red herring in this case is fucking Ashley Banfield. Yeah, mainstream media is the biggest red herring in this case. Ta-da!
I agree.
I'm gonna go with mainstream media is the biggest red herring in this case. So I'm gonna go with MSM. That's my answer. Take it to the bank, you guys. Cheers to all the moms out there. Cheers. I thought you would like that one. But next to the media, I'm gonna go with if it's not the media, biggest red herring in this case is I would say I would say stalking.
That's a good one too.
The biggest red herring next to
I don't even know
media.
if that would count as a red herring though, because
well, it was.
It was never.
It's
It was
outed.
never said. It's just that people in the media and on YouTube were like, "Oh, 12
Also, that
pinks."
it's a double right. It's
Yeah.
a double right there. Mainstream media stalking.
Like, it's crazy, because no one ever says he was stalking. They say, "Oh, well, he pinged at the house." It never says that. That's just people being stupid.
Now, question number 6. Who do you think? Who do you think Brian Kohlberger is going to do a tell-all with? If he's to ever write a book, whether he's found guilty or innocent, or who do you think Brian Kohlberger is going to do a tell-all with?
Who's been there since the beginning? At least leaning innocent. Who's going to be there Tuesday?
I don't know.
Lana
Bella,
and Twiz.
what's your answer? Bella thinks it's going to be the professor.
She writes books.
Oh, the one that writes about BTK?
Yeah.
What's her name? I know who you're talking about.
What's her name? Ramslin.
Ramslin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's who Bella thinks. I don't think he's going to do anything with mainstream media. I think he's going to go like independent.
I think we'll get him first.
I
She
think
might write
we'll
the
go-
book. We'll
I
get him
think
on
he-
YouTube first.
Yeah, I think he's going to go independent. That's my answer is independent. Go ahead, your question.
Do you think Bill Thompson reading the "Have you seen, read, or heard" questions at the public hearing to the entire planet was done to increase bias before Anne could finish the survey?
No, I think that it was. I think that he fell into the trap, and then Anne was able to use it as that was part of the record, and they were able to continue then on with the survey. So, I think that Ann Taylor's playing chess and Bill Thompson's playing checkers. So
you think Bill Thompson's just a dummy?
we've thought that for a while. As far as that, I think that I don't think necessarily he's a dummy. I just don't think. I think he's way out of his league with. He's used to signing plea deals. He's used to, frat kids or DUIs or, he's this isn't his ball game. That's why he's had to call him special prosecutors.
Yeah.
So I think that Ann Taylor, I think that's why he was so fired up. I think he just fucking sealed the day. I mean, he, have you read, seen, or heard? And he just reads it all and not knowing that he was. And that's why he asked for that closed hearing, because he's like, I got to close this. God knows what I'm going to say,
Hey, last hearing he was being quiet.
Oh, yeah. Jennings was there, right?
As soon as he said PowerPoint, though, I was laughing in the back of that courtroom.
Oh, man. Oh, that's right. You were there for the PowerPoint.
Well, no, I was there at the last hearing. Just the last hearing.
To
But when he
decide-
said
decide if
PowerPoint.
there was going to be a hearing.
Yeah.
The hearing of the hearing. I got you.
I was dying.
Yeah. Yep. So you asked about the All right.
Questions.
Yeah, yes, about the questions. All right. 7 is we're gonna have to ask about it. Do you think the sheath was placed?
Whew. If they are that dumb, like, I don't have high hopes for them being smart, but if they are that dumb, I kind of want to be surprised. But those search warrants from the 29th saying they're still looking for a sheath is interesting.
Oh, in the papers?
Yeah, like in the search warrants for PA, it
Yeah.
says they're still looking for a sheath. So how does that make sense?
Yeah, we're looking for a sheath because the one that there could be other ones out there that don't.
Right.
So does the sheath match the knife? Right.
I don't even know.
You know.
I'm kind of guessing that a K-bar wasn't used, or maybe just on one of the victims or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be more than one weapon, though. I think there's more than one person.
Okay. Your turn. Question. What is it? 6 or 7? 7 for you?
I think it's 7.
Okay, 7.
Now I gotta think. I just had one in my head, but I forgot.
I know what I'm going with.
All right, ask yours. I'll come back with 2.
All right. So.
Actually, I got it.
Oh, okay.
You don't think it's Brian's white Hyundai Elantra on camera on campus at 2:44 to 2:53?
2:44? Oh, you mean
Yeah,
like
the first time?
Oh, you're talking about like WSU.
Yeah. So like he's seen going north on Nevada Street 2:44. He's seen going south on Nevada Street 2:53.
I'm saying that no, I don't think that they're going to be able to prove that was Brian Koberger. Is that? I mean,
interesting.
I don't. I think that
it's your opinion. I mean, so whatever you say goes.
I think that there's something up with the whole. At this time we saw it, and then 9 minutes later we saw it again in basically the same location. I think there's something up with that. Because let me be honest with you, when you're looking at, like, when you're watching surveillance, okay, and I'm watching something in there, I'm like, oh my god, there, I found it. Okay, so then hear me out. I have it on that camera, right? So then I'm going to go to the next camera that's going to be like showing me like where it's headed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would then go to that next camera to then see where it would be, right?
Now you're referring to Stadium Way and Main Street /
Yeah,
270.
I'm saying
why is that left out?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I'm saying that you have to go in sequence. Okay.
Right.
So if that's what anybody would do that is a brain, I mean, has a child would know that if there's a sequence of 10 cameras all in a line and you're seen on camera 1, 2, 3, what camera are you going to go to next to see that you're on that camera? Well, camera 4, you know? Well, how about if you're not seen until camera 6, you know, so what happened to 4, 5 before you got to 6?
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's something that's very, very interesting about that. And I think that they don't have an answer for it. And I think actually Brian Koberger does, which is there's 2 different vehicles, which makes sense. I mean, come on, all we saw was white Honda Elantras after we heard about a white Honda Elantra, okay? Or cars that look identical to a white Honda Elantra. So would there be actually 2 white Honda Elantras between a 9-minute period? Absolutely, 100%.
There certainly could be.
Yeah, but something is missing there, and I think that it would make sense that Brian Koberger is one of the 2, and it's like, yeah, I'm the second
so
one.
You think he's the first one?
Ones. I didn't say he's I'm saying that he's one of them.
Yeah. But it wouldn't make sense if he was the second one, because they still would have left out the main
well,
street
I say this
on
back.
Purpose.
I say this back. He's one of them, or he is none of them, because he's already wherever the fuck he is. Yeah. You know, I do want to know more about Brian Koberger's day that day, because if he just had a normal day like always, and he just decided that, okay, hey, I was studying, or hey, I was bored, or so I got in my car and I'm going down to the park. You know, I would just think that The way that I would investigate this case is I would have taken all the Ring camera from the area and I would have looked over the Ring camera in the 6 weeks prior to. All the pings that you say happen in Moscow, I'd be lining them all up. Like,
How
I'd be
much you want to
looking
bet we're
at
going to
that.
see receipts on those 12 pings previously that he just went to Winco and bought groceries or something along those lines?
Well, I can tell you this: we're not going to see him at 1122 King
Hell no.
because that would be in your probable cause. But I also don't think that they had the time to go through that because it takes so much time to actually go through it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like if the trial happens or something. I bet you those 12 times he's going grocery shopping or going to a bar or a restaurant or something.
Oh yeah, I think that you could be at
Like
you're
everyone
shopping,
from
you're
Pullman
shopping.
does.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
shopping.
Every time
Yeah.
you drive to Pullman or Moscow from Pullman, you hit that tower. Every time.
Yeah.
It's what covers the main road in.
All right, last 2 questions here, and then I gotta go. I gotta get shit done.
Let's do it.
All right, is it my question or your question?
Your question.
All right, so this is
Because I
question
just asked
number 8.
about the cameras.
Okay. Yeah, I think the cameras are going to play a big part in it. I think it's going to come down to cameras and touch DNA. I think that you can kiss all that cast the fuck out of here. That's the FBI isn't testifying, or if they are, they're going to be made out to be fools.
Oh,
This is
they're
gonna
not.
prove-
No, the FBI will not testify to this.
I don't think they're going to touch this case. And I think Bill Thompson is literally shitting Eric Clapton bricks. So question number 8, I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm going to go to the fact that do you think that when the jury sees, if this does go to a jury trial, when the jury sees that Jack Showalter had no interaction with the girls, he flipped up his hood, he turned his hat around, and he was more or less hanging back, do you think that that's going to be problematic for the conviction of Brian Colbert? Do you think that Jack Showalter is gonna? What do you think he's gonna say about
When
being
did he
questioned
put
as to
his
why he did that?
When did he put his hat up and his hood up and hat backwards?
He changed his appearance at
From the bank to the grub truck?
No, when he was on the grub truck, he changed. He took his hat from being whatever way it was, so then he changed it to like front, back, front. But he put his hood up, and he changed his hat.
He went from hood down, probably hat backwards, to hat forwards, hood up.
Yeah, however it was. I honestly, I'd have to.
I would not call that problematic at all. He was probably just cold.
Okay, and so and then him not talking to the girls at all.
I mean, the girls were walking around like talking to people, right? Like
He didn't order anything. You do know that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't order
stood off in the
anything.
background.
He
I don't
stays
think
back.
that's weird.
So do you think that they're going to say, "Hey, were you expecting to give them a ride? Why were you there? Why did you like you guys were all walking down together perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden, like when y'all get there, I mean, did you know that you were on camera? Did you know that you were on camera? Could you not be around whoever because it would look some type of way, and you know, you get what I'm saying? Like it was.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Like, why aren't you by them at all?
I understand the issue, but to me that's normal. Because
you would.
I don't know if you know this.
He says that.
No, I know. I don't know if you know this, but I lived in Pullman for 4 years previously, right? So I lived here from when I was 19 to 23.
Okay, so 19
I
to 23.
I lived this college life with these college kids in that same time period. And I've done similar things where I would walk girls' places just to make sure that they're safe and they are okay. And people on the outside might think it's weird, but to me, that's normal. I would have done the same thing.
Okay, but you walked them to where they were safe, and then why didn't you just leave since you weren't ordering anything?
Because you're going to walk them home afterwards or make sure they get in the car.
Okay, so good. Let me ask you some questions like you're Jack, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Showalter, thank you for being here today. Okay.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
With that subpoena that I didn't ask for.
Right. So, the night in question, you went out and went bar hopping. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Did you go out by yourself?
No.
So who went out with you?
Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves.
So when I say that you went out with them, you left your house, picked them up, went out, or did you meet them out? And he's gonna say whatever. He's gonna say
Yeah, I
whatever.
met them out. I don't know.
So, but then we get to the time of that you're at the corner club. Is that correct? Is that a normal thing that
Yes.
you would do? Is go out on Fridays and Saturday nights to the corner club? Sure. Yes. And at some point, you came in contact with the victims, Maddie and Kaylee. Yes. And then you decided to, was it your idea to walk them to the grub truck?
No.
Did they ask you to walk them to the grub truck?
Maybe.
Wasn't one of their boyfriends in the corner club? Why didn't they walk them? Objection, speculation. Let me rephrase that. Were you aware that one of the victim's boyfriends was in the grub truck? Or I'm sorry, was in the corner club bar? Yes. And who would that boyfriend be? Jack. Well, I don't know if it was her boyfriend anymore. I think they were kind of on rocky ground, so I don't know. They were dating, yeah. Okay, and so did Jack ask you to take them down to the grub truck? And then he's going to say whatever. Well,
Right.
Mr. Showalter, where did you park? Did you drive that night? So you were drinking and driving that night? Oh, no, I was just having, no, I had a couple beers throughout a 7-hour period or whatever he's going to say. And so when you went out that night, where did you park your car? Once you left your house with the girls to take out? Whatever he says. Okay, I parked down here. Okay. And he's going to say, well, I was leaving to go down there, so I said I would walk with them, whatever. So then here we're walking. Now, when you guys were walking, was it cold outside? So were you
It was
walking
like
kind of
28
fast?
degrees.
So you're walking kind of fast because it was cold?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you guys were talking about?
What Maddie told Adam.
Yeah, or he could say, I don't know. And I could say, well,
Right.
Would it refresh your memory if I played you a clip and then that would play? Now, what did you mean by that? Does this recollect your memory of what you guys were talking about? Oh yeah, they were talking about how big of a dick he had.
Woo!
Whatever they say.
Right.
So we'll get to that point of, okay, so you guys are all walking together. Is that safe to say that you guys are walking together? Like you know each other?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you got down to the grub truck, was it your understanding that you were giving the girls a ride home that night, or just to make sure that they were safe until they called for a ride?
I would say safe until they got in the car.
In your car?
No, in the car with the driver who was driving them home.
Okay, so there was no intentions of you ever giving them a physical ride home.
No.
Okay. So when you guys get down to then the grub truck area, are you aware that there are cameras at the grub truck?
I am now.
So you never knew that there was cameras until this murder happened and it went viral?
I probably would have known that beforehand. I just didn't.
Isn't it true,
Pay
Mr.
attention.
Showalter, that you are very well aware that there was cameras and that is in fact why you flipped your hoodie up and changed your hat from backwards to frontwards?
No, that's not true.
Mr. Showalter, that's a grub truck, so that they do serve food and beverages. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you didn't order any food or beverages when you were there.
Correct.
So why did you continue to stay at the grub truck if you were not intending to take those girls home?
I was
Or
just
one of
making
them.
sure that they were safe.
Mr. Showalter, we're going to play a clip here. And can you identify the people in the video? Okay, great. Does this ring a bell? Sounds great. Okay, so we introduce it. You're allowed to lead the witness on cross-examination. Leading the witness, you're allowed to on cross-examination. Welcome to 101. So leading the witness is 100% allowed on cross-examination. This is not my witness. This is the state's witness. So, Mr. Showalter, you went ahead and just identified a couple different people. At no point in time in that video do you see yourself engaging at any time with either of the victims?
Correct.
So why weren't you talking to any of the victims in that video?
I was just letting them do their thing and talk to, who they were talking to. I wasn't planning on ordering food, so I just stayed in the back.
Isn't it true, Mr. Showalter, that Maddie and Kaylee's boyfriends could eventually see that video and wonder why you were groping all over them? So then, therefore, you did not grope all over them?
I guess that's true, but I wouldn't grope all over them.
Have you ever had any interactions with Jake, Maddie's boyfriend?
I would assume so. Yes.
Are they positive interactions? Isn't it true that you and Jake got into a fist fight the previous spring fling, and that is why you were no longer in the fraternity and you were on probation?
Yes.
And isn't it because you wanted to have sex with one of those victims named Maddie? You weren't making sexual advances towards any of these people?
Is this true?
Isn't it true that you have a temper? Isn't it true that you have a temper if things don't go your way, Mr. Showalter?
Sometimes.
Objection, argumentative. That would never be allowed, just so you know, that part. So, Mr. Showalter, let's get back to this video. Are you standing in the back of the video? Do you feel like you were standing away from all the action?
Yes.
Up and until you meet with Joey Fatone from NSYNC? I mean, Joey Vito?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know Joey Vito? In fact, you don't know him. Isn't that correct? And you've never talked to him in your life. Isn't that correct?
Doesn't he work at a restaurant down there?
So you would rather talk to somebody that you don't know than the two girls that you walked down with, who you were talking with?
Have you ever talked to two drunk college girls compared to a grown man?
So were they annoying you that night?
Probably.
And so there came a point, Mr. Showalter, where you were on your phone that night. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Leading. I'm 30 years old with a lust for life, of course. You're allowed to lead on cross-examination. Now, Mr. Showalter, there's a point where you get on your cell phone. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Who did you call while you were there? Or was it text messaging? Objection, compound. I'll rephrase. Mr. Showalter, were you texting while you were at the grub truck? Yes.
Yes.
Who were you texting that night? Whoever he says. Did you call anybody while you were at the grub truck? Meanwhile, you were just lurking in the back?
I haven't watched this video in so long. I don't remember all these details.
Did it upset you when neither of the girls were acknowledging you at the grub truck, so much so that when they ran off and didn't tell you anything, that you felt slighted?
I didn't feel slighted.
Because you thought you were going to get your dick wet, Mr. Showalter.
Oh, my gosh. You caught me.
You were expecting to get your dick wet, weren't you, Mr. Showalter?
No.
Now, Mr. Showalter, did you see the vehicle that the girls got in? They didn't say goodbye to you. They didn't say goodbye to you, did they?
No. They just walked off.
They just walked off. Did that upset you? So much so that you got in your vehicle and ran on over there?
Oh, Lord.
I
stopped at home to grab my K-bar first.
Now, Mr. Showalter, I'm going to replay a couple clips here. When you see yourself darting off to the right, would that be in the opposite direction that the girls walked in? Yes. Isn't it because your car was situated back behind the building? Yes. And isn't it true that the girls did not, in fact, drive with you out that night, but that you came as a lone wolf by yourself as a loner.
Yes. I drove down there to meet with my friends.
And isn't it true that those girls actually took private drivers out that night and took private drivers home because they did not want to be anywhere near you, Mr. Showalter?
They did take a private driver there and home, but they also walked with me, so they clearly weren't avoiding me.
So they used you, Mr. Showalter, isn't that true?
Yes.
And then when you then walked off to your car and you got in your vehicle, what vehicle did you drive at that time? Was it a white vehicle?
Yes.
Was it a sedan? A white sedan? Weren't you driving a white sedan that night?
Yes. That's what he
And
drove,
where,
right?
yeah, and where in relative to that 1122 King Road house do you live?
Just down the street.
And so when you then ran off to your vehicle, you seem to not give a shit about Joey Fatone or Vito, whatever the guy's name is that you were speaking with. You didn't care about him anymore, and you just told Big Papa to shut it, and you ran off lickety split like a fart in the wind. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And when you got in your car, what song was playing?
Stan by Eminem.
Isn't it true that Sarah McLachlan, Will You Remember Me, was playing? And that you are a Sarah McLachlan lover?
Love me some Sarah McLachlan, especially those puppy commercials.
Yes. And so were you planning on just heading straight home that night?
Yes.
So did you go home that night?
Yes.
And so when you got home, did you at any point in time text any of these girls, call any of these girls? Because you were so concerned that they made it home safely. Did you text them? Did you call them to say, hey, did you guys make it home okay? I was just really concerned. No, and in fact, you didn't, did you? Because you could give two shits because your dick didn't get wet. Isn't that true, Mr. Showalter?
That is true.
And
if girls don't get my dick wet, I don't talk to them ever again.
And in fact, you went back to your apartment and you put on your little kill kit.
Oh. Well, I have a different name for it, but yes.
Isn't it true, Mr. Showalter, that you then laced yourself with gloves, a black bib, and extra bushy fucking eyebrows to then hightail it over to 1122 King in your white sedan?
I plead the fifth.
You thought that nobody would see you being a little lurker in the wind on that video. Isn't that correct, Mr. Showalter?
That is correct.
In fact, once you got home, you decided to snort some Adderall, didn't you? And that just really piped up your heart rate. You know how we know that, Mr. Showalter? Because we have your health data records. And
doesn't that violate my HIPAA rights?
And all we see is your heart rate going like this. And it's because you decided to snort Adderall with your not roommate, because you are a loner by yourself. But it's because you needed that extra adrenaline for what you were about to do that night. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Mr. Showalter, your parents own a cabin out in Africa, don't they?
Yes.
Mr.
It's a quick little
Showalter,
drive.
how many deer have you gutted?
Ooh, 37.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever left deer nuts on any of the sorority houses' porches?
It was more than nuts.
Getting back to the truth here, Mr. Showalter, you then went over to 1122 King Road because you were upset, weren't you?
Very upset.
And you just waltzed in there. Now, you have a relationship with Dylan, don't you? Didn't you and Dylan Mortensen go to high school together?
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm. But you weren't interested in Dylan, were you?
No.
You were just interested in the people that stiffed you. I'm just curious. Do you think that she could possibly show Walter in the light of why were you there? Why did you run off? What did you do next? Did you really truly make sure that they made it home okay? Why were you walking them down there? Why did you stay off why didn't you talk to the victims when they were at the grub truck? Why didn't you order anything at the grub truck? Were you not hungry after drinking all night?
I mean, you could.
You didn't even pretend like you were there for any other reason than to stalk these victims. Think about this if this was back in 2001, and we just saw that snippet. Like, holy shit, we didn't see the snippet of them walking down together, right? Well, you guys are walking all together. Then why, once you guys got to the grub truck, could you act like you guys didn't know each other? And all I have to say is that you would 100% use that to your advantage. As to, like, you have a temper, don't you, Mr. Showalter? That pissed you off because one of the girls was flirting with you all night, and then you thought that you were going to get hanky-panky, stinky, whatever, and that didn't happen, and you were pissed, Mr. Showalter. So much so that as soon as they left, you darted off. You told fucking Joey Fatone and the NSYNC band members to go fuck themselves, and you ran for your car. You got in your car, and then you sped home.
It could happen. I've been that guy though. I've done it.
But can you just like think about it? Like, so then what did you?
Possible.
Well, no, I just want to know what you did after that. Oh no, dude. Then I was planning on going to Boise or my parents' cabin or whatever the fuck I was doing. So I just no, I didn't care that they ran off. I didn't care. I was there to protect them. Protect them from what? That would be the
drunk girls be walking off a lot.
So why didn't they ask you if you wanted to ride? Well, because they knew that I had my own car, but they didn't have the decency to tell you that, hey, we're Joey Fatone, Joey Vito had to tell you, oh, hey girl, hey boy, your girls are running off.
Your girls just left.
Yeah, and then you're like, wait, what? And then they made you look like a fool, so much so that you had nothing to say to Joey Fatone in the NSYNC that you had to run then off to your car, get in there with your little tail tucked between your legs, and drive off.
I mean, they could spin it like that, but I think that's a big spin.
How is that a big spin?
I've lived here. I've done this. I most likely saved a girl
You're just
from.
One of the nice guys. You're one of the nice guys, right?
Hey, I'm going to tell you part of a story, unless you want the whole thing. But I probably saved a girl from getting raped one night, and I've never talked to that girl, and all I did was walk her home.
Oh boy! All right. Well, we don't want to.
Again, I've lived here. I know what goes on.
So then we'll go back to the whole. Now you're Enon. I just want to give it up for the crowd here. Now you're Enon. Mr. Enon. Mr. Harsh. You're a local drug dealer, aren't you?
Maybe.
Mr. Harsh, you have full immunity. Mr. Harsh, isn't it true that the state has given you full immunity? And then anything that you say here today will not be used against you in any court proceeding?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start with your history here. You have parents that were professors at WSU, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you decided at some point to dabble in drugs, isn't that correct?
I've done a little bit more than dabble, but yes.
Mm-hmm. And fire spinning and tripping on acid and rolling mollies and whatever the fuck else you do.
Yes.
But you decided just over the past year or two that you were going to get straight and clean and all those amazing things. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, you live over there in Queen on 500 block of Queen in the apartments that overlook 1122 King. Isn't that correct? Queen? Whatever they're calling it nowadays. Perfect.
Queen Road Apartments.
Yes. And isn't it true that you've done some interviews as it pertains to this case, both with the media and with the police? Yes. Now, isn't it true that you told the police that you heard a scream at 3 a.m.?
Yes.
Or was it that you told a local blogger that you heard a scream at 3 a.m.? I can't really remember because I was just spinning. Perfect.
Both?
Both. Mr. Hirsch, do you recall that you told the authorities, as well as bloggers, that you saw an unknown black SUV in the vicinity of the 1122 King Road house on the night of the murder?
Yes.
And that was when you were coming home from work that evening?
Yes, that is correct.
Were you
Maybe
high?
maybe
as a
Montana
kite?
plates.
Maybe Montana, yeah. So did you provide this information to the local law enforcement? No, they never came and asked me anything. I had to go out on a YouTube channel and tell all of my story. All of my story. Now, how are you so convinced, Mr. Harsh, that you heard a scream at 3 a.m. versus 4, 5, or 6 a.m.? Well, I don't really remember because I told multiple people multiple things. Now, Mr. Harsh, wasn't there a time... Now, did you ever know the victims?
I met them outside of their house once.
And it's because you wanted to bring them wine, isn't that correct?
I did bring them wine, that is correct.
Were you hoping to get lucky with one of these victims?
Man, not everything is always about sex, my gosh, but yes.
You're right. You are a local known drug dealer, and were they tapping in on your territory, Mr. Harsh?
Ooh. Yes.
So you noticed a pattern of vehicles. You paid attention to the vehicles that were coming over to that house, and it looked like a revolving door of money, SUV, pimped out cars, souped up cars, so much money just rolling around this house. And it upset you, Mr. Harsh, didn't it?
Yes.
It upset you because you then actually realized that, oh my gosh, I know these vehicles. And these are my past clients. I should be making this drug money. And you wanted to know who was throwing their dick on the table selling drugs in that motherfucker. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Didn't you go in there at some point? Have you ever been in that house?
In the house?
Yeah, have you ever been in the house? So,
yes.
So none of these women ever invited you into the house. You've been walking your ass all around that property for how many days and months, and nobody asked you to come in. Did that bother you?
Yes.
Mr. Harsh, on the night in question, did you see any white Honda Elantras parked outside at any point in time? No, I saw a black SUV. One that you've never seen before. Correct. It looked like it was like high tech. Like, did you think it was fancy. A Fed? It was fancy. All right, next up. Who should we put on the stand? Who do you want to be? Dylan? You want to be Dylan? No.
No. God, no.
Who else? Well, let's put Brian Kohlberger on the stand.
Ooh.
You think it'd be Brian Kohlberger?
I could be Brian Kohlberger.
All right. Mr. Kohlberger. Well, this is a first. You're going to take the stand here. You have the right to remain silent, but you're going to go ahead and just ham at us. Mr. Kohlberger. Isn't it true that you came to Washington to study your PhD and have your career take off in criminal justice, psychology, blah, blah, blah? Yes. That's great. Yes. Okay. Isn't it true, Mr. Kohlberger, that you used to have a past addiction to heroin and things of that nature?
Yes. Drink.
You were a drinker? Thank you.
No.
Mr. Kohlberger, at any point in time when you were here on campus, did you continue your vegan ways of eating? You're a vegan,
yes.
Isn't that correct?
I love being a vegan. I hate meat.
Okay. And so, did you ever come here on a visit to decide that you were going to come to WSU?
To
Did you ever
visit?
visit the campus? Yeah. It was during COVID, so I'm curious, did you use a actual visit to come here on campus, or did you do a remote Zoom visit?
I watched videos, maybe a remote Zoom visit, Google Maps, Street
And
View.
and you'd never been away from home before, right? You've always been a Pennsylvanian.
Yeah, I've always been in the Pennsylvania area.
Okay. And you've always lived at home with mommy and daddy?
Yes, for the most part.
And how many girls do you think you've had sex with
Ooh.
in mommy and daddy's house? Not that many, because you're an incel, isn't that correct, Mr. Colbert?
Yeah, girls don't talk to me. I don't talk to girls. They just look over my 6'3" beast, wide-shouldered body, and they don't even talk to me.
Okay. Now, Mr. Colbert, we do have your Carfax here, and it is pretty telling. You do put a lot of miles on your car.
I do put a lot of miles on it.
So much so that we were able to see how many miles you put on your car from the last time you had your what you would call a oil change, and to the oil change before that, right?
Yes.
And so you are actually telling the truth when you say you like to drive around a lot.
I do like to drive around a lot.
That Carfax does prove that you like to put the miles on.
I do put a lot of miles on it.
Okay. And so you were a vegan because you used to be a fat ass, right?
I was a fat ass, yes.
And then you decided that you couldn't see your chubs, so you needed to lose some weight, so you became a vegan, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then you come on over here to West Virginia. I mean, Washington. It's all the same. And once you got to Washington, you decided to continue on your vegan ways, right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever Google where I could find vegan food in your phone so that you could continue on your vegan ways?
I probably did. I don't recall the specific time I did that, but I probably did.
And had you ever been to Mad Greek?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mr. Colbert, isn't it true that you have a fetish with the stars?
I mean, I enjoy looking at the stars. I don't know if that's a fetish, but I do like to stargaze.
You like childbearing hips, Mr. Colbert?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a man. Women have hips.
All right, we're going to get into the night in question here. Well, before all that, Mr. Colbert, have you ever been in a fight in your life? Have you ever been arrested? Do you have any priors?
Yes.
Mr. Colbert, when you met with Officer Jenkins to get a internship with the WSU Pullman Police Department, how did that go for you? Were you called back? We don't know what
I
he's gonna
think
say.
we emailed.
Yeah. And so were you slighted? Did they look over you? Did that upset you? Were you out to stick it to the police department in any type of way?
No.
Now, Mr. Kohlberger, you were a TA, so that means you couldn't mingle with the students on WSU's campus, isn't that right? Otherwise, if you were to mingle with them, they could write you up, and you wouldn't want any of that, right?
By mingle, do you mean date or have adult activities
date,
with?
hang out. You want to be really careful, right?
Yeah, you can't do that with students at WSU.
Yeah, and so therefore you would get in your vehicle and you would head on over to Moscow's campus, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want 22-year-olds, you can't get them in Pullman, so I had to go to Moscow.
Okay. And so, were you homesick at all? What drove you to start fiending for some H again? That's what they're going to try to say. I mean, how would you ever come across any of those people in Moscow? Have you ever been over to 1122 King in your life, Mr. Colbert? No.
No.
I like people with red hair. Hello. Have you seen my TikTokers?
I don't even know where 1122 King Road is.
And so you're telling me that you're a vegan and you've never been to Mad Greek, the only 5-star serving up some vegs, right? Okay. We've checked your phone. You turned it on over to us. You met with us. We told you we were looking for a white Honda Elantra, correct? Yep. You answered our questions, correct? Yep. Isn't it true that you started wearing all these plastic gloves to protect your DNA? I mean, this is going to be, I mean, what the fuck?
I wore gloves throughout COVID the entire time.
Because you're a germaphobe, isn't that correct, Mr. Kohlberger?
Correct.
What are you going to say to this guy? You said that you went out stargazing and that you were running and hiking and doing all of these things. And your phone proves that you take pictures in the middle of the night and you don't have any friends because you just moved there. Like, he's going to have a pretty decent, like, your Carfax proves that you put on so many miles on your car. All of this stuff is going to truly help Mr. Kohlberger. And then you're going to get to these type of questions, which is, Mr. Kohlberger, you wanted what all of these kids had.
What did they have?
What did they have? All of these kids were popular, loved.
I'm loved.
Had boyfriends, had girlfriends, had friends. They were an incel. You know what I mean? Like, where are you going to go with that? Mr. Kohlberger, you went to Walmart and you bought dark jeans and dark shirt and you bought some overall bibs and shit. And isn't that because you planned on waltzing in there and trying to commit the perfect murder? You knew, you came out to this side of town because you knew that there are cell service up until 2021 before we got that huge grant from the state and whoever else fucking threw us money, that we had the worst cell service ever. That it was just choppy as fuck. You could go around, you could do whatever. And you knew that because you followed that's what you are. You're cloud-based forensics, right?
That is correct.
And you
could not track me.
You, in fact, tried to get a job saying that you wanted to help in those areas so that you could try to infiltrate to see exactly how we did things so that you could commit the perfect murder.
That is correct. That's exactly why I came here.
Now, this is the only thing that doesn't make sense, Mr. Kohlberger. Why the fuck would you come to a state that has the death penalty? Well, I didn't. I live in Washington. Do they have the death penalty?
I thought it would be more of a slap in the face when I got away with it. Haha, you thought you were going to put me to death.
Mr. Kohlberger, you're enjoying all of this, aren't you? Everybody talking about you.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I love it. Locked in my little cell in a cellar at Latah County Jail. That is correct.
You love it that Ashley Banfield was calling you on your burner and you weren't answering.
Well, I've been in love with her for years, and now she knows my name.
You know, you wiped your phone all the way clean. You got a new cell phone before you came across town in June. So from June, you knew that you had to commit the murder really, really quick because your phone and all the apps you were nervous of, you knew that they were tracking you. So therefore, you had to commit the murder relatively quickly, okay? And that you did it around the holidays because you know that people don't work around the holidays.
That and my plates were expiring the next week.
Mm-hmm. And that you therefore could change your plates?
Yep.
Why would you change your phone number right before you left? Or I should take that back. Why did you get a completely whole new phone and phone number right before you left Pennsylvania? Don't you have a bunch of friends that would want to contact you and that you would want to contact them?
I mean, I could still tell them my new number.
I'm trying to think of everything, you guys. Think of everything possible that you could say. And isn't it true that you left the knife sheath on purpose? Because you knew that we like to cut corners and that we would try to railroad you and that this was all going to be tossed and that therefore there would be nothing to hold against you, or it would be super light, or our employees would look like complete fucking fucks to the point that you're going to get away with murder and you're going to do it in front of everybody. That's what the whole goal was, is to get away with murder while America watched. Isn't that correct, Mr. Kohlberger?
Yes, I wanted to be notorious, and I also knew that Moscow could not count past 5.
Mm-hmm.
So my odds were pretty good.
And you had access to everything. You could, you know,
I could access
you could access things that others
cameras,
couldn't.
police reports, everything.
And what good is it to be a killer that just keeps getting away with stuff? There's no notoriety in any of that, is there, Mr. Kohlberger? You want it to be known. You want it to be known, and that you got away with it.
That was my main goal, but had I got away with it more and got to do it again, then maybe we could get a cool code name.
Mr. Kohlberger, when your attorney showed you the crime scene, did you throw up?
No, not at all. I left it exactly how I wanted it.
No. When your attorney showed you pictures of the crime scene, did you throw up?
Yes.
Because any vegan would.
Correct. No?
Yeah,
How am
I think
supposed to
any
answer
I
this?
think a vegan would. I think that, yeah. I think
Well,
that would
they were
bother
meat
a
eaters, so
vegan.
they had to die.
Not my friends and Al. Never would it ever bother them.
I think the questions are going to come out for the police. Like, it's just, who's the killer? I don't know. I think it's all going to come out to police. I think it's all going to come to protocol. I think that you have this guy by like one string, but you know that it's him, and that all you try to do is like topple it and railroad him because all you had was a string. But you're like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking sick freak motherfucker, and we're gonna have to make all this other evidence so that we can. That's what I.
So you think BK did it? They just aren't gonna prove it?
No, I think that this is what happens every day in America. Everybody chooses money. I think that money. This happens every single day. I'm saying that whether or not BK did it or not, there was just one thread there. And then you went and put 10 on top of 2 because you took and you confabulated all of this shit that was not fucking there, and you made it to be there, just like how you would lie. You would lie to people. Hey, I have you doing this. I have you doing that. I have you doing this. I can prove you were here. Do you know that? Do you know this? Do you know that? They're lying. They're lying for this guy. They wanted Brian Kohlberger to take a deal to save his life. Okay. Right? And here's Brian Kohlberger like, I didn't fucking do this. I'm not fucking saying I did. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think we've thought the whole time that Brian Kohlberger is like some fucking CI, that he's that he's this. And I just think the whole time that's not the case about any of this. I think it was we're going to lose a shit ton of money, so we have to pick somebody, right?
Yep.
And there's a thread here, and we're going to make up the rest of the evidence. That's what I think. I think there was multiple threads everywhere, and I think that's why this is such a fucking bad case, is because there's all these. I mean, think about it. On the night that fucking everybody was killed, think about all the X factors that's going on. Kaylee was fighting with people. That's why she moved out and was just all in a hush to get out of there. She wasn't even paying her bills. So much so that like Xana and Maddie were like Venmo reminding her to pay them. And then you have whatever was going on with the Sigma Chi people and their fake fights and their real fights. And then fuck shit. Then you have the drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have all of these things. And then you have a guy that walked the girls down. Then he gets stiffed. It looks like he's pissed. So I'm saying you have all of these working parts. Then you have a pissed off boyfriend, and Jack D. I don't think he has anything to do with it whatsoever because he's a softie. No knock on Jack D at all. I'm just saying like he doesn't have it in him to hurt a fly.
Right.
So you have all these working parts, all these things, and
Plus,
it's
it's
like, where do you
football
start?
weekend,
Where do you
so you
start?
have
Where do
a
you
bunch
start?
of cars come from out of town anyway, so you'd never be able to track if it was an out of towner.
I just think you have a bunch of strings out there, and I think that this is the perfect case for reasonable doubt. And it's really, really sad because it probably could be solved without, cheating, or people that cheated to frame somebody. Either you cheated, either you violated somebody's rights to catch actually the right killer, or you violated somebody's rights to frame a wrong person. That's what we're looking at here. And you have to ask yourselves which one it is. Either you violated somebody's rights to actually get the right person, and you lied about different reports that don't show what they show, because this man's dangerous. We got to get him, and he's going to do whatever. We're going to get him, and he's probably going to take a plea deal or whatever. They weren't expecting it to go like this. Or you're framing an innocent man, and you're doing exactly what I said, but for the guilty person. For an innocent person? Yeah, and it's just agreed. So we're dealing with the same thing. It's just a matter of if. So if we're dealing with the same thing, that means that he should walk regardless. And that's my fear, is that this should tell everybody that this happens every single day of the year, multiple times, and it doesn't have to, because I think that you need to weed out the bad apples in law enforcement. Yeah. And when I say law enforcement, I'm talking about that's the prosecutors. Everybody in law enforcement should be paid very, very well. You should go and get very, very, upstanding citizen. You shouldn't take a guy that doesn't want to go into college. I don't want to go to college. I'm just going to go be in the academy because, at 19. And think about that. Think about that. Every type of job that's worth a damn, you got to go get a degree. But here, you can go be an EMT, you can go be a police officer, and you don't have to go get a degree at all. You don't need any type of college degree to go be any of those 2 first responder positions. And I think that needs to change. Higher standards? Yeah, and pay more money. And then you don't have to be corrupt. Yeah. So that's my take on it. But then you're going to have to change like the whole prison system. No. Why? No, because they need people to fill the prison so they get their money coming in. That's part of where the corruption comes. I don't think they're in it to fill the prison system. That's going to come from politics. That's going to come from pulling tax money and shit like that. No, that's not how. That's a way different side of corruption, in my opinion. No, I mean it is. It's just connected somehow. That's feeling. We're talking about this. Why would I get out of a ticket and you don't? Or why does you get? It's if you think about it, it's all discretion, right? I sped, but you sped too. But I didn't get a ticket and you got a ticket. But think about this. I commit rape and you commit rape. I don't get charged. You get charged. It's all discretion. Right. It's all discretion. And if you truly think about it, I mean, it's like, it's all a prosecutor deciding to, okay, I'm going to go forward with this case and not that case. And if you think about it, who's truly behind that decision making? And it's like, oh, hey, that's so-and-so's kid, or that's this, or hey, nobody who gives a fuck do this, or hey, you got to look at this way. They're associated with this group, so let them go. It is wild. Well, Twiz, I'm out. Much love to everybody. Happy Mother's Day. I got one last question. Oh, what's your question? Yep, this is number 10. Am I picking you up from the airport or not? Oh shit. I'll email you. I'll email you the deets. You have my email, right? Yes, I do. All righty, I'll be looking forward to it. You're a doll. Keep my location under wraps. Oh, I will. All right. Thank you. I mean, Twiz. I have to keep mine under wraps too, right? I'm out here every day. I mean, just stab a motherfucker. All right. Thank you so much for being on here tonight. Appreciate sure. You. I'll see everybody later. Peace. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. All you guys that are moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Be kind to one another. Out over. Ooh.